roll call, please.
President Byrne,
Here.
Trustee Hebda. Here. Trustee Cook,
Here.
Trustee Markwart,
Here.
Trustee Schultz,
Here.
Trustee Schwartz,
Here.
Trustee Williams.
We have a quorum present. Will you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? All right. Any citizens that wish to address the board tonight? No? Okay. Proclamation recognizing Deputy Chief Chris Kazian. Chris is,
In Arizona.
did he already leave? He probably did, huh? No, okay. Well, we certainly will get this to him, but Deputy Chris Kazian has been serving the Vernon Hills community with the Countryside Fire Protection District since 1991. Chris began his fire service career as a paid-on-call firefighter, was hired as a fire medic by Countryside Fire Protection District, and rose through the ranks to become deputy chief. Throughout his career, Deputy Chief Kazian has been involved with public education, high-angle rescue, dive rescue, and emergency operations. In memory of their daughter, Chris, and his wife, Christy, founded Helping from Heaven, the Lexi Kazian Foundation. The Lexi Kazian Foundation is dedicated to improving the comfort and quality of life for children with special needs. Helping from Heaven provides a variety of therapy equipment and builds playgrounds for special needs children, and creates a network and provides financial support for their families at local, national, and international levels. Further, Helping from Heaven provides resources and scholarship for families and therapists in need of financial assistance and/or community support. The President and Board of Trustees would like to thank Deputy Chief Chris Kazian for all of his professional and personal contributions to the Village of Vernon Hills. I, Roger L. Byrne, Village President and Board of Trustees, do hereby proclaim that Deputy Chief Chris Kazian be recognized for his accomplishments and contributions to the Vernon Hills community, and wish him and his family best wishes in their new venture in Sedona, Arizona. So we'll get this to Chris. Trustee Cook.
I talked to John Kelmer and Mike Allison. The three of us were at the walkout ceremony, the final ceremony that they do for firemen when they retire, which was an excellent ceremony. And I just wanted to say Chris's contribution to the community it has been unbelievable. I mean, not just the 20 years as a firefighter, but all the different things that foundation has done, and the work he's done with the schools and stuff like that. He will definitely be missed and will be very, very hard to replace, because they've done just incredible things for this community, far beyond what he's done as a fireman, which is incredible to start with. And so he's definitely going to be missed in this community. And it's my understanding that the foundation is going to continue to work in this area. They've got, people that are helping to keep that going. So
Yeah, that's great.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, he's definitely a good guy. Okay. Next is the electric aggregation, March 20th referendum, Village Manager Allison.
Thank you, sir. All 7 of our partners, or 6 of our partners, all 7 of us, the referendum's passed. And I'd like to thank everybody who came out and voted, and ours passed 61% to 39%, supporting the aggregation of electricity. And again, it's the opt-out program where if you make no decision, you're in the program. So I just wanted to go through with you. This is a little bit about what will happen over the next month plus. Is as you know, Buffalo Grove is taking the lead on this, and we're looking at March 20th the RFP, the request for proposals, have already been sent out by, I think it was to 19 vendors by Buffalo Grove. And then the due date for any questions from these vendors will be the 27th of March. Responses to the RFPs by March 29th. That's our answers to them. Then we're going to have a due date for the RFPs of April 3rd. And then going forward, we'll announce the vendor selection on April 10th. This is all our plans. And then we'll, each of us will work on the operation and governance document. Individually, we have to adopt that. So before you, and the plan is Bob's going to review this, we need to publish in a paper twice, and we're going to have 2 public hearings. One is planned for April 3rd, your next board meeting, and the second one would be April 17th, the following board meeting. And the plan is to adopt this governance plan at that April 17th meeting. And then just one detail on the bid itself, we're going to go out and we're going to request a 100% renewable or green bid, and the lowest cost bid, which the assumption is it would be brown energy or the normal energy. And then we're going to get proposals that are gradients of green energy from 0 to 100, just to be able to take a look at those. And one of the things that we talked about as a group, the managers of respective communities, is if we get a differentiation which is fairly modest, like 2 to 3% between brown and green energy, and that's been one experience. Now, granted, that was about 4 months ago in Oak Park. They adopted the green energy option. So we may take a look at that, and I just wanted to get if there was any initial feedback from you. If it's a modest differentiation, and I'm not suggesting we know the numbers, but let us say one is a 25% savings from the generation, and the other, the green energy option, is a 22%, savings. What does everyone think about the potential of adopting the green energy option at something where it's that tight of a difference? And our philosophy has always been that we wanted to have as the primary number the lowest price that you offer as a vendor. So we haven't loaded that with anything that would raise it to a higher level. So.
I would, I guess we could decide at that point, but I would say, I'm sure people appreciate the best number.
Yeah. Well, and Mayor, I should say, part of the reason is we're doing this is we may, we're going to look at these numbers, as I said, in early April, and we are, under the intergovernmental agreement, empowered the managers of the respective communities to make a decision. Because I guess it's not a good analogy, but it's a little bit like gasoline prices. You lock in, here's the price, you've got X number of hours to make a decision on this. And I would certainly alert all of you immediately upon the knowing that. If I wanted to get some feedback from you, because we may be making a decision within a day or so of that green option. Thanks for bringing that up.
Trustee Schultz.
I guess we were leaders with regard to recycling. And with that in mind, I believe it's in our kind of DNA or village-wide to look at least. I agree with the mayor's opening statement that, we need to be looking for the best possible price. But again, if it's relatively close, wouldn't hurt us to show leadership in this arena, just as we've shown leadership in the recycling arena also. So that would be my first thought and first take on this.
Trustee Cook?
I agree with what Trustee Schultz said, but are we limited to just a choice?
Well, I'm thinking, as you can imagine, 7 managers, we're sitting there, we come up with more ideas as we go along. But one idea might be, if you do the green, today the specs are written brown, opt out of brown, opt into green. That's the default, or I shouldn't say default. Default's the brown. Opting into green is a conscious decision one has to make as a resident. What we could do is flip that, and if someone said, you know what, I don't want you making choices for me, maybe we could do the green, if it's only 2 to 3% differentiation, is if someone says, I want the cheapest, I don't believe in green energy, whatever reason they have, they could opt into brown.
See, I like
Then they would have.
I like your second idea best then, because then if people wanted to go ahead and get the cheapest regardless of,
And then if they did nothing, they'd get the
Atmosphere, yeah.
green, assuming it's only a few percent. Now, maybe
Yeah.
it won't be. Again, we don't know the dynamics, because how many multiples of communities adopted this yesterday in
a lot.
Illinois? So who knows what the market might look like in a week. We'll see.
Okay, Barbara Williams, trustee Williams.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know there's some type of plan that you've got going, right, to make sure that the residents are aware of this opting in and opting out and the cheapest, and
Mm-hmm.
so not only will we be doing what, how are we gonna get that message?
Letter, they have to be sent, it's
Wonderful.
very specific, not a blast email, not something on a website. It's gotta be, we have to get the Commonwealth Edison common address, which we actually have, and we'd send it out to each one of those common addresses. And we'd probably get the community
Will I
correct
get
this
one
time
of those
too.
this time?
So,
Thank you.
Trustee Williams has a story to tell.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story later.
Yeah, that was good. I heard that story. Okay, since no other department heads seem to have a talking part tonight, is there a motion to approve the omnibus vote agenda, items A through I?
Motion to approve, but I'd like to make a comment on E.
Okay,
So we're pulling E?
no, under comments or questions. I mean, is there a second?
Second.
All right, under comments or questions, trustee Schultz.
I'd like to give an attaboy here to the police department. Basically, this particular line item is to declare certain village equipment as surplus. These are bicycles and that have been impounded over the years and have been taking up space. And this allows us to donate them to a nonprofit organization who will repair them and provide them back to needy members of the Lake County community. And this is a good way for us to handle disposal of, in our case, stuff that's just causing us headaches to store it, junk, for lack of a better word. So, attaboy to the police department on that. And that's something I think the community as a whole can be proud of, that we do. That's it.
But other than that, there probably is some things that are, worth, what else are we actually putting out? Just the bikes?
Yeah, I believe it's just the bicycles.
Okay, okay. All right. Any other comments or questions on any other omnibus items? If not, roll call.
Trustee Cook?
aye?
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda? Aye.
Motion carries. Under unfinished business, approval of Kemper voucher list of bills dated March 21st, 2012 in the amount of $5,723.98.
So move.
Second?
Motion is second. Any comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Abstain.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, approval of March 5th, 2012 Village Board meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Okay, motion is second. Any comments or questions, corrections, deletions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Motion carries. C, approval and passage of ordinance 2012-016, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Vernon Hills, Chapter 19, Section 19.3, Building Mounted Signs. Is there a motion to approve?
So made?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Comments or questions, Trustee Williams?
Thank you. I just wanted to comment that the original reason for this being in our sign ordinance was so that we wouldn't have multiple signs in the ground, on the billboards, all over the place, and then also on the side of the building, without the owner of that building coming before the board to decide if in fact we should allow that sign. It was never meant to actually stop the signs, but to try and control the signs and control the sizes of the signs. I don't feel that it's a conflict with the existing ordinance the way it's written. Therefore, I will be voting no. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
No?
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay,
I know I'm right.
next item is the approval and passage of Resolution 2012-030, a resolution approving intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Vernon Hills and the Countryside Fire Protection District and the Village of Libertyville for the provision of dispatch services. Is there a motion to approve? Okay. Motion is second. Any comments or questions? Chief, you want to comment on this one, or?
Yeah, let the mayor, if the chief could comment on the general agreement, and I have a specific comment.
I was going to say, we're particularly proud of this. As you know, for probably about 2 years or so, we've been in discussions with the Village of Libertyville, along with the Countryside Fire Protection District, to provide police, fire, and EMS dispatching services for the Village of Libertyville. These discussions have taken place, as I said, for nearly 2 years. Took a lot of work on my staff's part and everyone else's part, and particularly Bob Kenny's part, especially as we got close to the end. At the village board meeting on March 13th, the Village of Libertyville formally approved the 5-year agreement, and last Thursday, the Countryside Fire Protection District also approved the 5-year agreement. So that's what's before you for consideration tonight.
Great. Oh, it's excellent. Mike, what do you?
Yeah, if I could just add, there's 2 expenditures, and I realize you can't approve them tonight, but they go under the whole, they're a necessity under this agreement, and the chief and Larry have talked about previously. It's something like $268,000 that'll be expended to switch over Libertyville to Vernon Hills Dispatch. And the 2 expenditures that I'm going to sign, one is within my authority, the $16,880.83, and then another one, which is quite a bit larger, $66,530.92. These are both AT&T expenditures, so I'm sure the chief would back me. We really need to. This is the lagging indicator. Not the leading indicator, the lagging indicator of getting this thing going. So if I could, I'll sign these, and Larry will put something together for the 3rd of April to approve everything we have, but we really need to get going with these. Go ahead, Chief.
I was gonna say, I should mention that the funds that Village Manager Allison mentioned is a one-time capital cost that Libertyville will be reimbursing us for. All we're doing is fronting the money to get the project started, to get the equipment ordered, because there's a 2 to 3 month lag time on a lot of this equipment. Our tentative go-live date for the project is August 1st of this year. Even that may be a little aggressive in light of all the different vendors that are involved in this process. Anything we can do to expedite the process, especially with AT&T, would be greatly appreciated.
All right, do you want this cash expenditure included, the authority included in the actual ordinance itself?
Yeah, then we ratify it.
What?
Then we ratify it next meeting.
Yeah.
Won't do that.
Yeah, we could, I think, note that, and then we'll ratify it on the 3rd of April.
And so it's 60, what?
I'm sorry, let me give you those.
61, I know you said 16,000 you're authorized to.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the
The
other
larger
6.
number, and these are sole source, these are both AT&T equipment things that need to be done through them. It's $66,530.92.
Okay.
And that's the positron, obviously, that's all the communication equipment that AT&T supplies, and the switchover and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, all right, so is there a motion to approve the passage of Resolution 2012-030, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Vernon Hills, Countryside Fire Protection District, and the Village of Libertyville for the provision of dispatch services, including the authorization of,
Two bills.
well, the one specific amount of $66,530.92 to be paid for certain equipment we need from AT&T.
So made.
Second.
Motion and a second. Trustee Williams?
Oh, no.
No, it's something else? Okay. Roll call, please. No, no.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any new business or communication to come before the board? Trustee Cook?
I just wanted to update everybody. Everybody got, I believe everybody got an invitation to Dr. Zook and Karen Zensula's retirement function. And I just wanted to let everybody know that was 6 o'clock. They left the time off the invitation, which was greeted with many laughs about, I guess when you're retiring, you know, specific time isn't that important or anything. So for anybody who got that's the time that it's going.
What day is it?
It's May the 4th.
Where's it at?
Yeah, Kemp Road. Probably got an invite in your packet there. A second thing, in our packet, Larry, sales tax numbers for December 2011. Did I read your stuff right, that that's the best month we've ever had?
Well, December typically is our best month, and this was substantially better than our prior Decembers.
Well, the previous best was what, 2006?
Yeah.
And then it declined because of the economy and that, but
Right.
now we're back to
Right.
a new record level. so.
Right. In terms of, in terms of the effect against projection, it's not quite as good because we are paying out more in rebates than we once did, but it's certainly, I mean, we're beating
Oh, it's still-
projection, and the
yeah, it's good
projection
news.
was, you know, the projection was good, we're
Yeah.
beating that by 1.5%, so.
Good, thank you.
Okay. All right. So, any other new business or communication to come before the board?
Just, it's really not so much communication as a commitment. I want to thank you for all the hours that you put in on getting this resolution together and working with all the other intergovernmental positions to get it done. You've done a really great job, and I do appreciate your hard work, and I'm sure the board does too.
Thank you, and I hope this is just the beginning.
I do too.
Okay, and then the first meeting in April, might have a conflict that Tuesday.
It's the
Any number
third,
of
I believe.
board members might have a conflict.
April the 3rd?
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Maybe we should, I have a recommendation to change it to the 4th.
Really?
Yeah. Anybody else concur?
Yes, I concur wholeheartedly.
Now, the only thing is, we need to, there's a couple of things.
Get the
In
agenda.
all seriousness, the budget public hearing,
Right.
and then also this electric aggregation, and I don't think it matters, but we have to contact the county clerk's office. We didn't publish, but we notified them of that April 3rd date for the public hearing for the budget. But I think that's just a courtesy that.
Could we meet for just that and then do the regular meeting on the,
Or could we have a
Sure.
short meeting?
Or a
Do we have
shortened
lot going
agenda.
on
Very
where we
short
could
agenda.
Have a shorter agenda?
John, do you know of anything for the 3rd?
Yeah, no.
Okay, there you go. So, no.
So we'll have
So
a
we
regular
do it-
meeting, but it'll be a shortened
Make it short.
agenda.
It's 7.
Okay.
And then we can leave.
Look at your hood.
I know.
Okay. Is that
We,
okay?
we could publish for a different venue, Trustee Williams. So, okay.
Yeah, that
Okay,
works
so
for me to
if
just have.
we, yeah, I mean, if we
same
just
night,
had
just
the list
shorter.
of bills, I guess we could keep the approvals down to a minimum, and then the current plan, now Bob has to check out some of the meeting notice dates on the electric aggregation, but 6:55 would be the budget public hearing, and immediately thereafter would be the electric aggregation public hearing. So, on the governance plan, so. Okay. So far we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
So we'd start at 6:55.
Correct.
Correct.
That's such a,
On the 3rd.
Correct.
okay, the man lost his screen here, so. Fire me back up here, Tom? Put people on something. Hey, give me the committee of the whole agenda. It's not on a piece of paper, huh?
Well, motion to adjourn
Yeah.
the board meeting?
Second move.
Do we have to go to closed session tonight?
Yes, sir, personnel.
Okay, personal, okay.
Hopefully 2 fairly short items.
Okay, there's a motion to adjourn.
In a
Is there
second.
In a second, roll call, please.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to call the committee of the whole to order. I lost that page. What's the number of the first page?
6:55. I think you mean 35, because I laughed, why are we doing it 5 minutes earlier?
Yeah, they open it up.
I think it's
Right here.
3.
Right here. Okay, we're getting there now. But that's the approval of the March 5th, 2012 committee. I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting to order. First item is approval of the March 5th, 2012 committee of the whole minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second. Comments, questions, corrections, deletions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Motion carries. First item is request from CDW to alter a farmer's, operate a farmer's market at 200 North Milwaukee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The farmer's market that CDW is proposing is pretty much the same thing that the board approved last year. They'd offer fresh fruit and vegetables to their employees as part of their health wellness plan. There'd be no advertising except to let their employees know. And as a reminder, what happened last year, local farms displayed produce under tents within a designated area of the parking lot. and the designated area is approximately 60 feet by 180 feet. The only difference from last year is they're proposing that it be set up in an area of the parking lot that's adjacent to the intersection of Lakeview Parkway and Continental Drive. Previously, it was in an area of the parking lot between the main building and the fitness center building. So other than the relocation within their parking lot, it is pretty much the same thing. The event would take place every Thursday, starting on June 14th through September 24th, and the hours of operation would be from 12 o'clock to 4 p.m. If the board feels that the temporary use is appropriate, then staff should be directed to prepare a resolution approving the request, subject to the conditions that are outlined in your packet. And representatives of CDW are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Trustee Schultz.
Yeah, I'd like to know what their thoughts are about opening it up to the public, as I requested that they do last year, that they weren't able to do, and they said they'd reevaluate it, so I'd like to hear why they can't open it up to the public this year, seeing as how it was successful. And it would be a good effort on their part as community, members of the community, good corporate citizens.
Yeah, it's a good question.
You want to state your name for the record,
Sure.
please?
My name's Eric Martinek from the CDW Corporate Benefit Department.
Crystal Bolliger, the Be Green Associate for our Operational Excellence Program.
Get a little closer, we couldn't hear you.
Crystal Bolliger, I'm the Be Green Associate for our Operational Excellence Program.
Okay.
So that's a great question, Trustee Schultz. It's again, something our insurance and legal folks still do not feel comfortable with offering to the public. As we've presented, we have not turned away any traffic or patrons from the street with the market last year. We do have security and protocol in place if the traffic becomes too burdensome near our technology center.
So you are in fact assuming the liability then, because you're allowing people to partake in it even though they're not actually invited?
No, we are not assuming liability. We ask our vendors that come on to the property to be properly bonded and carry the correct insurance.
I
We're
still
simply-
don't see the insurance quandary then, why you can't open it up. And
It's a fight that I've lost with my folks as well, but the key piece for us is this is one area that we feel has helped improve the health of our company, which includes many of Vernon Hills and the surrounding areas, families and citizens. So at the heart of this, we're looking to change behaviors with our coworkers and their family members, and we feel that resonates back at home. Spouses, children come on site to purchase these things. We still, going into year 2, don't have enough information to feel confident that we could host this for the village. But as we promised last year, we're more than happy to share our observations and what we've seen from our vendors with anyone from the village. We're more than transparent to do that in the hopes that you may get a farmer's market up and running again.
We have a drawing exactly where this is going to be located?
Excuse me, it's in your packet.
Someplace I saw it.
It's the main road coming off of Milwaukee Avenue. I said Continental Drive, I think it's CDW Way, actually. And where that intersects with Lakeview
Yeah, I've got it.
Parkway,
Want me to open it? Yeah, I got it.
right at that intersection within their parking lot.
This one.
I-
Barb, you got a question?
Would you repeat that?
It would be the northwest
He's telling me what's happening.
portion of their parking lot at the intersection of, I believe, CDW Way and Lakeview Parkway.
That's correct.
You don't see that as being a problem, the change in the location?
I don't see that as an issue.
Yeah, I didn't either looking at it. so.
Did you find it?
Yeah. Well, what do you do with customers coming into the showroom? They're just, what if they were?
They're more than happy to as we saw a few of those customers walk out and grab an ear of corn or grab some vegetables. We've got security staff in place, as well as Crystal and myself are the market managers, although we have other full-time jobs. But what we've asked our vendors that agree to sell on our property without any payment or anything exchanged is that they do ask for a coworker ID, or they ask to see what your connection is to CDW, a spouse or a parent. And we've asked them to track sales. So if more than 10% of those sales are from non-CDW coworkers or connection to CDW, we've got a backup plan to shift the farmer's market.
So if somebody walks out with a CDW receipt from the showroom that they bought something, they can buy corn? No?
You don't have to buy something to be in the farmer's market. You do have to show a coworker ID or share with
Yeah,
one
okay,
of
so then they can't go to and purchase at the farmer's market.
We're not communicating this to the public, that's
Okay.
correct.
No, they
I just
can
wanted to-
go. They can go.
To
He
look.
said, that's why I don't understand his mumbo jumbo about insurance liability, because they are in fact allowing people to participate who are not customers. It's just that they're tracking it and trying to keep it down to a minimum. And I'd like to remind him that we write you a check for over $1 million a year as part of sales tax rebate. And I would hope that you could have your corporation be a little more friendly towards the village with expanding this. But again, that's my opinion and only the opinion coming from this chair.
And
I would think neither of these two individuals can respond to these questions.
And that's
So
the other
let's,
thing.
yeah.
Well, I'm a little disappointed that they don't bring an officer of the corporation
Yeah, well,
here, because in fact, they did. It was signed by their vice president, or
Yeah.
it was noted in there, but
So you're saying if somebody does buy something and has a receipt and walks out and wants to go and get a dozen ears of, corn, then they're not going to sell it to them, or they are?
They wouldn't be turned away.
They would
from
not
our
be
vendors.
turned away?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah, okay, I mean,
Need a motion to approve then?
Yeah, I need a motion directing staff to prepare a resolution approving the farmer's market.
Okay, so moved.
there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
present.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Reluctantly, aye. But I will be writing a letter.
She said aye.
Trustee Hebda?
I'll say aye, but I would hope somehow that you guys could go back, talk to whoever you need to talk to, and figure out a way to include our community, because we've really done a lot for your corporation. So please make that effort for next year so that we can come back and resolve it, because I think it'd be a really nice amenity for our folks here, and it would probably help your company as well. But I'll give you an aye, but please asking you to go back and pursue this. And if you need some of us to go meet with your powers to be, we'll be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it?
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I mention one
Present.
thing? Next week, I'm going to meet with a group that produces French markets, outdoor markets. And so I'll let you know how that goes. They're looking, one of our residents has participated as a vendor in one, and she brought it up to me. So we're going to look at a couple sites. She was talking about the Metra parking lot, because she's hoping it would be on a Saturday. So I'll let you know and what's involved in it for us.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Steiner.
I'm getting there.
This is the furniture
I know.
sale.
All right, yes.
It's a lot different.
Steinhoffels to operate, a request for Steinhoffels to operate outdoor marketing event at 569 North Milwaukee Avenue. I know there's a couple of representatives here from there, so who wants to step forward for, they'd have a speaking part, and state your name for the record, please.
Dirk Stallman, I'm the marketing director for Steinhoffels.
Sure. Okay. What is staff's understanding of this?
Well, the request before you tonight is for two outdoor sales events. Each event would involve setting up an area on the northeast corner of their parking lot. The area would be for the display and sale of furniture, and the furniture would be located under 2 tents within this area, and the specific location is on a site plan that's attached to your packet. There'd also be a staging truck within this area that would be there to store excess furniture. As furniture is sold under the tent, they can take additional furniture out of the truck and put it in the vacant spot under the tent. There'd also be safety devices that would separate customers and pedestrians from vehicular traffic. Again, it is a request for 2 events. The first event would take place on Wednesday, May 9th, and that would run till Monday, the following Monday. And the second event would take place on Wednesday, August 8th, and then that would go till the following Tuesday, August 21st. The hours of operation for both events would be from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And again, the application and the site plan are attached to your packet. If the board feels that the temporary use is appropriate, then staff should be directed to prepare a resolution approving the special event, and representatives of Stein office are here to answer any questions you may have.
Trustee Cook?
What exactly is outdoor fun?
I'm sorry?
Your plan has a big area that just says outdoor fun.
2 areas.
2 of them.
Oh,
What-
it's actually outdoor
Yes.
furniture.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
It's patio furniture.
Okay.
I thought it was fun.
F-U-R-N,
oh, okay.
which could be fun.
Yeah, it could, yes.
Okay, that,
No, it's just FUN
says
on this.
FUN.
It's, yeah,
It
it's,
doesn't say-
okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
It's just if you.
definitely
It
says
says
fun.
FUN.
yeah, that's what the
Oh, you know
drawing
what?
you've got says.
Look at my copy, it
Yeah.
might be the, sorry,
That's
it
okay.
might be the way that the R and the N got melded.
Yeah, you
together.
Yeah,
you can see
okay.
ours,
That's
ours,
outdoor.
Not when you
ours,
blow it
yeah.
up on here.
Okay,
Okay.
then that's fine.
Yep,
That clarifies that very quickly.
that was an easy one.
Okay. Is there a motion
wait,
to?
wait, I just have-
Oh, I'm sorry. Trustee Hebner.
do people like, is this like cash and carry? Is that what you do, or what?
No, actually, they would be processed through our point-of-sale system.
Okay.
We have a kiosk that we'll pull out that we can sell from, so it's not a cash and
Where they
carry
would
kind of a
have
thing.
to, some of it though, could they take with them? if
Absolutely.
they
Some of
wanted
it they
to?
could take with
If they
them if
wanted
they,
to.
if they
Okay.
desired that. Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
I'm not sure if it's appropriate at this meeting, but if you're looking for a place for a farmer's market,
Yeah.
consider us a candidate,
Yay.
okay?
All right. Thanks.
Right.
If you pull it together, we'll let the people know.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That's-
if you have the French market thing, I mean,
Who owns the parking lot?
we do.
We do.
We own it.
How many, how many spaces do you have there?
Uh,
No, I'm just trying to think it out, you
If it's
know.
big enough for
many
this,
400?
A lot.
Well, it wouldn't be any
big
bigger
enough for
than this.
this.
A lot. We got a lot.
You get a bunch.
Yeah, okay.
bunch.
All right.
So anyway,
All right, we'll take that under advisement. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. And next is the budget. We're gonna jump right to what, community development?
No, is that what you do?
Or police.
Oh, for that one?
Where's police at? Oh, yeah, gee, number C. Does that mean if we do that, you don't have to stay?
I wish, but I believe that I'll be needed for the executive session.
Oh, too bad.
I tried.
All right, police department budget.
Thank you. Before you is the police department's proposed budget, which contains a mix of currently funded items and a list of new requests for your consideration. This budget does not contain any requests for additional personnel during the coming year. The total budget is $9,142,412, which represents a 2% increase over the current fiscal 2011 year's budget.
Where are you touching it?
Personnel expenses are projected to increase by 1.3% in fiscal year 2013 as compared to last year's budget. If you recall, in November 2011, the village approved the first collective bargaining agreement with the department's sworn officers and telecommunicators. The majority of the projected increase in personnel expenses for 2013, actually all of it, is reflective of the salary increases that become effective on May 1st, 2012, and were previously agreed to in the collective bargaining agreement. The balance of the increases are due to be projected in health insurance expenses. Supplies and services this year are projected to increase by approximately 10.5%. This year, we replaced several pieces of major equipment in our communications center to get ready for our intergovernmental agreement, including our positron and the 911 telephone system. These expenditures did not require any general revenue funds, but were funded through the E911 surcharge and the capital reserves already set aside for this purpose. Unfortunately, the warranty period for these pieces of equipment will have expired, and the maintenance service contracts for these essential pieces of equipment could not be funded through the ATSB and have been transferred to the general fund budget. The only other projected increases in supplies and services account this year is in equipment, which increased by approximately $21,000. Typically, police vehicles were replaced every other year or every third year based on mileage condition. In fact, 23 of the 35 patrol vehicles are more than 6 years old. For budget years 2009, 10, and 10, 11, we did not budget or replace any patrol vehicles. Last year, we budgeted for 4 new police vehicles, 3 marked vehicles, and 1 four-wheel drive CSO vehicle. Due to the fact that Ford is no longer producing the Crown Victoria police vehicle and there's no clear-cut successor to the industry standard Crown Victoria, we purchased 2 two-wheel drive Chevy Tahoes to be used as patrol vehicles and 1 four-wheel drive Ford Expedition to be used as a CSO vehicle for a total of 3 vehicles. This year, we're budgeting for the replacement of 5 vehicles, 3 to be used in patrol, 1 additional four-wheel drive replacement CSO vehicle, and 1 administrative vehicle. I'll come right out and say it's my car. That would be the administrative vehicle. It should be noted that even if approved, due to the way in which municipal vehicles are ordered and received, these vehicles will not be placed into service until June of 2013, nearly 18 months from now. The proposed 2013 budget has a number of alternative revenue sources other than the general fund, including the 911 fund, grant revenues, DUI enforcement fund, park district contribution, administrative towing fees, traffic enforcement fines, school resource officer program, and the drug forfeiture program. Together, this year, these items will produce about $785,000 in revenue to the village. There really aren't any other new purchases outlined this year, other than what we've discussed in terms of what it's going to take for capital improvements for the communications center and records remodeling. But the overwhelming majority of that money will be reimbursed by the Village of Libertyville with interest over the life of the intergovernmental agreement. So if you have any questions, certainly try and answer them. Otherwise, that's kind of it.
Trustee Schultz?
So the only question I really have is the monies that we're receiving from Libertyville, we're not going against your revenue here. It's just going into the general fund. We're not showing it that way.
Well, what we did for the purposes of the budget was put a kind of a plug figure, or not a plug figure, a derived figure of $100,000, which is the additional revenues minus the additional costs that would result
In year one.
In year one. But what we're actually going to do is create a communications fund, and that's going, I guess we haven't formally decided the name, but something like a communications fund that'll be funded by 3 sources: the 911 fund, the payment from Libertyville, and then what's left from the general fund.
Okay.
And we're going to bring that in the next, it's sometime in May.
All right, so that then for the 13-14 budget cycle, you'll show that as a revenue line item.
Right. Actually, the communication budget will be a separate budget next year, kind of like the 911 fund is. We'll probably fold the 911 into the communications budget if we can, but we'll have a better picture then of what the total cost for the communications center will be.
Okay.
And we're start implementing that in 12-13, so we'll have a history going into the 13-14 budget.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? All right, so the total budget, Chief, is 9 million?
$9,142,412,
Okay.
about.
Hang on. Motion to approve?
Second?
Yeah, sure. Motion to approve in a second. Okay. If there's no further comments or questions, roll call. Roll call.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Too bad you can't leave. All right.
That is mean.
Yeah, why not? Hey, come on. Community Development, H.
Thank you, Mr. President. Community development budget this year is projected to be $830,145, which represents a 0.6% decrease from last year's budget. As you know, the Community Development Department was restructured and now consists of the administration, GIS, and the building division, and with a total of 8 employees. The administration portion of this budget is projected to decline 1.2% from last year's budget, or the current year's budget, I should say. Just a couple of highlights with regards to the administration portion of the budget. It does include the GIS section. Couple things that have changed. This year, we are not doing an upgrade of the comprehensive plan. We anticipate that you will see that at the first meeting in May, but the actual work done by Rolfe Campbell and Associates will be completed. So there is a reduction in this year's budget of $20,000, which was budgeted in the previous years. Couple other things under contract services. Last year, or this past year, as you know, we created QR codes and the boards that had the restaurant QR codes that went out to the VHAC and a couple of other locations. That was an item that was created during the budget year. There was no funding available for that, and the Public Works Department was able to fit that into their budget. We have taken that, the replacement of those QR boards within the administration budget, and are projecting an expenditure of about $1,000 to replace those boards. We've gotten a lot of good positive feedback from folks, and we're trying to distribute not only the hard boards out where somebody can take a baseball bat to them or knock their cleats off or something like that, but also try to get them inside the schools, especially the high school. So that's been a positive item. We're also purchasing a couple of historical aerials to complete our collection of aerials for this area. The other 2 items this year, with the age of the building and the office equipment that's in this building, we've created a $750 contingency fund within our budget, anticipating that we may be replacing some office furniture, primarily chairs, throughout the department. And then finally, we've reinstated the travel for myself, actually. This allows me to maintain my credentialed manager certificate. That's the administration portion of the budget. I can answer any questions that you may have with regards to that.
Trustee Cook.
I just wanted, with the QR boards, if you could keep just in the back of your mind, check with Mike Hewlett over at Adversity Volleyball Club.
Sure, right.
Because we've talked with him, I've talked with him a couple times about that, because he hosts a number of tournaments, well, in fact, a bunch every year, not just volleyball. He also is going to be hosting a some kind of a martial arts tournament in that facility, and
Okay.
they bring in hundreds of people from outside, from all over the country, in fact, to a couple of those tournaments, so.
Good idea.
It would be a good place for us to put one.
I think we'll probably also provide one to the Cougars also. There's probably some opportunities there.
Thank you.
And then with regards to the building division, the building division's budget is projected to increase 0.2% over the past year. There are no major program additions to this. Again, we've requested the reinstatement of the travel for the building commissioner. Again, it allows him to maintain his master code officials certification and the like. So I guess with that, we can answer any questions. Again, the budget number for this year is $830,145, which again represents a 0.6% decrease over the previous year.
Okay, any further comments or questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the community development budget for fiscal year 2012 to 2013 in the amount of $830,000, $145.
So made.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. If no further comments or questions, roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Capital Fund, aye.
And I'll present that and may require Dave's help as we go along. The capital budget is $180,000, which is a 19.6% reduction from last year. Last year, capital budget was dominated by $80,000 for the HVAC system for the communications center. Probably the major changes this year, $5,000 increase in the sidewalk, curb, and gutter program, $5,000 for engineering for a bike grant from the EJ&E south of Butterfield to Indian Woods, $8,000 for a bathymetric study at Lake Charles, and $18,000 for the CV ditch bank stabilization. Any questions on that?
What part of the CV ditch?
Yeah, is that the whole ditch? How far does that go?
It actually includes both it's not a new grant stabilization project, it's for cleaning and stabilization. So most of it's really going to be for the cleaning of it. We may remove some buckthorn in given sections. But typically our grant stabilization projects are in the 250 to 400,000. So this is 18,000, just enough to clean the ditch.
What type of company would we use for that? Landscapers or?
Typically, we would bid out and have a landscape company perform that work. There may be an opportunity with, if we purchase a stump grinder, which is recommended in the Public Works budget, we might be able to use that stump grinder to do the clearing of buckthorn with that piece of equipment. We might be able to do that in-house as time allows to. So there may be opportunity there for us.
How about a bushwhacker? Do we have a bushwhacker?
We do not have a bushwhacker, but it is a nice tool.
Did we ever bushwhack anything at the 9-hole? After we all went out and looked at the
They burned it.
the shore.
Yeah. We were able to do a burn instead, which is a really effective, quick way to knock down the weeds. We are also looking at the riparian buffer that goes through it in terms of how we can knock down those weeds through the whole golf season. Two different opportunities, we might be able to put a growth stimulant on it that the plants just don't grow as tall, but you still get the color. We also can, just bushwhack them also with a different piece of equipment.
Okay, so it would be prettied up at some point along, part 3 and the number 5, where
We absolutely have that planned. We've started off with doing the burn, and then we need to monitor what are weeds that are growing, what are things that are growing too tall that impact
Right.
golf course play. So we do have that scheduled.
Okay.
That'll be more performed in-house, though.
Including by, at 9, 8 also, going, back towards 6 and,
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Essentially, the crossings of the fairway and the CV will be our primary focus.
okay. So the amount of this budget is, let me see here.
180,000.
The amount of this is
What
100
can you not use, the road and bridge fund on? I mean,
Road and bridge revenues are used for basically the maintenance of roads. And it's,
did go over a bridge?
well, it can also be used for the maintenance of bridges.
Yeah.
I guess I neglected the bridge
Because
part.
that's we get that from the county, right?
We get that from the townships, basically the way that both Libertyville and Vernon Township, what they levy a road and bridge tax, and what's collected in incorporated areas goes to the
Yeah.
municipalities.
Okay, all right.
It's
So,
just another part of Illinois' exercise of excessive independent taxing bodies,
we got plenty of them.
more than any other state in the country.
What was it? It was about,
With something like one in every eight or
they
8 or
got
10 nationwide.
3,500,
No, it's more than that.
you think?
Yeah, yeah.
More than
Excuse
the
me.
next three combined, I think, is this.
Yeah, it's something like one in every 8 or 10 in the country is in Illinois.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
180,000.
180,000.
Yeah, for the fiscal year 2012-13 capital sub-fund permanent improvements budget of $180,000.
So made.
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments or questions? I might add that, this is a 19.64% decrease from the last year. All right, roll call.
Trustee Hemda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye?
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, same twosome on this one.
Yep.
Larry Nackern and Dave Brown.
Yep, on item J, the motor fuel tax budget, and that's $1,162,000, which is a 45.8% increase. This year, we're putting, I guess, some unusual burdens, or atypical burdens on the motor fuel tax fund, but it does have a balance of over $2 million. This is budgeted to draw it down by about $407,000. First of all, our road program is bigger than normal at $900,000. We're budgeting $250,000 for the engineering of the Hawthorne Lakeview project. And ultimately, the long-term plan is to fund that with debt, but in the short term, we're going to use motor fuel tax funds for that. And as you know, that's going to be a very large project. And then we have $11,000 for geotechnical testing.
Yeah, and when do we start doing the neighborhoods?
The neighborhood project, it will start in essentially 1 week before school ends this year, so it'll be
Oh,
in
okay.
May.
Okay,
The good news on this project was actually our prices for asphalt came in fantastic. And the bid numbers came in 135,000 or so under budget. So definitely some good news as we're forecasting potential $4.50, $5 a gallon fuel prices. So I'm really pleased to see the numbers that Peter Baker gave us for this project. May present some opportunities for us.
is there any issues with the issue we had with, oh my God.
There is no issue in terms of having that extra rider in terms of a fuel adjustment. We do not include that in our bid documents.
Okay. All right, well, that'll eliminate any surprises, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the motor fuel tax budget for fiscal year 2012-13 in the amount of $1,162,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Okay, the VHAC fund budget.
And this is the budget we use to account for the repayment of the loan, which we originally bonded to District 128 for the building of the VHAC site.
Right.
And this year we have budgeted 26,000, of which 15,000 is for dumpster enclosure and pads, 11,000 is for the fairway entrance monument.
Okay. Trustee Schultz.
The last sentence, help me with this. As of January 31st, the unused portion of this account was $933,161. What is that being held in escrow or?
Well, that's essentially loaned to the general fund and then paid back as needed. So what it basically is we lent to the school district 1.3 million. They paid that all back, and we've attributed to this fund $367,000 of expenditure so far.
Okay, but, so what is that? So is there 933,000 in the general fund that is earmarked?
Yes.
That can't
yeah.
be used for anything other than the VHAC, or?
Whether it can't be used is, we have established, we worked out with the auditors when this initially came that this was a payable and a receivable between the two funds. The board has the authority to overturn that, but I've always respected that original treatment of the transaction.
So what kind of projects would we be using that money for? Well,
I guess, if we were to build some type of facility on the VHAC, if we were to build bleachers,
Well, is the bond retired?
No, the bond is not retired.
So what are we paying a year on the bond?
We're paying, about $400,000, but most of that was not for the loan. That was a $5 million loan, of which $5 million bond, of which $1.3 million we then loaned to District 128.
Yeah, and the rest was used for the site in some way, shape, or form?
Right. And then we did another bond, which was close to $5 million, which actually will be retired after March of 2013.
So what's the interest rate on the bond that we're saying, the one that's gonna be a longer term, that
It's slightly over 4%.
can we refi that, or?
Well, we can't, this year we couldn't do it as profitable, or, the wrong word, as economically beneficially as we could, because since we issued $10 million of bonds, it's no longer bank qualified. But there are so many restrictions on the refinancing, on pre-refunding, the way the IRS sets it up, that it's difficult to generate a lot on those refunding. That's what made the refunding so opportune this past year that we did a few weeks ago, was that we already had issuance costs covered, so we didn't have to add that in.
Okay. All right. Any other?
So how long are we gonna keep this separate fund in place?
Well, I guess I should explicitly ask the board, and do we want to? This was originally funds for the VHAC, and I've kept that integrity in place. So in my mind, we're going to have 933. I get the sense from looking at some of Dave's work, that we will have no problem finding $933,000 worth of projects of projects to fund on it. But of course, that's a board decision, and if the board decides that's not where they want those funds to go, we can certainly dissolve this fund and use that money directly for the general fund. I also, it also serves the purpose of kind of segregating this type of work from the general fund.
I guess from what I'm hearing you say, that this might be something that we may want to entertain prior to March of 2013, when we retire the VHAC, and the VHAC basically is paid for, et cetera, and kind of wipe the slate clean with regard to any separate accounting or?
Well, actually, the bond that whose origin this originally came from it goes through 2018. It's the second bond that we did for the VHAC that ends in 2013. But I guess the liability remains on the books of the general fund until it's either explicitly forgiven by board action or we spend it. So probably it's my failing that I haven't done a better job of explaining those are the options available.
But when you give us a report that says that we have basically 20 million in the bank or 19 million in the bank, this 933 is part of that 19 million.
Right.
So it's really not, it's what we understand to be in the bank. It's just an accounting protocol.
Right.
Okay. With that said, is this a fund that we might use for Project Turf?
Yes, I would, if it.
Well, it would, basically, we're drawing it out of the general fund.
Yeah, well, I mean, but
this is just an accounting protocol, so if we wanted to do
Yeah, okay.
something for Project Turf, it would basically, yeah, we could attribute it at this account, but it would still be coming out of the big check.
Because this is all part of this is
The
just a
cookie jar.
number within that. Yeah, okay. Well, okay. I guess we'll just move on then. Okay, the city managers, this budget is for $26,000. So we need approval of the VHAC budget for 2012-13 of $26,000. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion and second. Comments or questions? If none, roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next is M, Public Works Department.
Thank you very much. For this year, our proposed budget increase overall is 4.22% compared to last year's budget. The majority of the budgets, in terms of the last salary increase, the majority of it is tied up in salaries, wages, and benefits in terms of the increase. Other increases can be attributed to building maintenance needs that over the last 2-3 years with the economy, it's starting to show that we need to put some money into our buildings to make some improvements, investments. Also, there are a couple of two large equipment purchases I wanted to discuss with you. One of them is a stump grinder, and the other one is a forklift. I'll go into that in a little more detail. And the other is moderate contractual increases, essentially raises that companies have given their team, and so there's a cost increase on that. Also, one of the things is fuel increases. We are experiencing a sharp increase in fuel costs, and that's impacting the budget. I was able to outline any of the increases that are plus or minus $500. So I've laid that out in the board packet, in the budget. Instead of going over each individual one, I'll go over the major ones. If the village board has any questions on those specifics, by all means, stop me, ask the questions. So let me go over really the broad strokes, the major items. In terms of overtime, that's increased slightly. We did add Rib Fest, the lacrosse tournament, and we're also supporting Project Turf. Those have increased our OT budget. We are moving towards hopefully moving towards electronics recycling in-house so we can eliminate the overtime budget should this board approve of that. That'll help us reduce the budget additional $1,680. Larger items, we'll really get to those. We are proposing a couple of changes. We have some needs for our maintenance of our buildings. Specifically, some of the custodial services are being impacted with Gus Stagg's retirement a few years back. What we'd like to do is we're proposing to do a couple of things. One, we're proposing to add 500 hours for a temporary maintenance worker to assist with our emerald ash borer impacts. So that is a slight increase, $7,725. In terms of emerald ash borer, what we're really looking to do is we're not looking to increase substantial dollar amounts. The impact will really start hitting us in not this proposed budget, but the following year and the year after that. We anticipate a big spike in terms of how many trees will be impacted. We think it's manageable this year. We will be able to do this in-house. I'm just asking if we could add, instead of a part-time temporary maintenance position, to increase them to working basically 40 hours a week for 9 months. So that additive 500 hours will help us with that. Moving forward with some of the larger ticket items, we're proposing to purchase a stump grinder with emerald ash borer. It's something that will allow us to be more efficient. We'll be able to, with this piece of equipment, instead of a rental, go deeper when we do the stump grinding. And what we're hoping to do is drop the tree right into the lower grinding. The ones that we rent do not go deep enough, and so we have to use a lot of labor to pull the roots out, et cetera. This will grind deeper, make it more efficient for dropping the trees in the ground. We're looking that we're going to remove 190 trees this year, so efficiency is going to be real important to us.
For not, maybe to put on the website, is there any treatment that's, effective to stop the spread of the ash borer, or are you basically throwing your money away?
There's different opinions on that. If the tree hasn't been heavily impacted by the borer, then some treatments have been proved effective. The problem is they only last for 2 years, and then you need to spend the money again. For average parkway tree, it may be about $100 that you would have to pay to do that. It really depends on the tree. We have 3,500 ash trees to deal with times 100. We'd have to budget $175,000 every year if we wanted to inject and save every tree.
No, I'm just saying people that, I know some of my neighbors have decided, well, I'm going to get it done, so. I was just curious how effective, if it's infestated,
yeah.
What's, what will it do in that case? Will it potentially still slow it down?
It is proposed to slow down the spread of it. It may stabilize the tree. Essentially, it's the circulatory system, like our blood, is what it's really doing. So it may stabilize.
But doesn't the disease start at the tap? of the tree?
It goes both ways. It is really the blood circulation system of the tree, so it's going from the roots to the top and back. So it's really, the flow of nutrients back and forth. So it will show up sooner at the top, but it's through the whole cambium layer, the outer layer of the tree. So, but to answer your question, yes, in terms of people who are interested in how to treat their tree, if we go out and find an ash tree that has problems, we put an X on it, we give them a notification card, and it includes our forester, Ken Lohr's contact information, and it asks whether they've treated their tree or not. So if they're interested in treating and trying to save the tree, or if they've already done that, they notify us and we say, okay, we're going to let this tree stay in the ground, we'll monitor it, we'll look at the health. At some point, if it isn't working, then we just understand we have to take it down and we have
Sure.
to have that conversation.
Sure.
So, but they should contact our department and we can help them with that.
Yeah. And we've marked how many trees so far?
We have marked, I think it's 190, well, the removal is closer to probably 160 trees, but we'll be replanting about 190 trees this year.
But I mean, as far as marking, that goes on.
That is continuing. We just started really marking in the last week, week and a half.
Will every tree in town be marked this year?
Only roughly 160 trees will be marked this year. Good news also, we did get a grant through the Mayor's Caucus of $20,000. That is helping us with addressing removal of some of the problematic ash trees, and we will be able to replant that because we do have that extra $20,000 to help us with that.
But when you say, but there's 3,600 trees that are ours.
There are 3,500 parkway trees that are ours.
But, so when will they all be inspected and marked, every one of them?
We are going through the inspection of every one of them as we speak. So we are making the rounds to do that. So they all are being inspected.
So that'll happen this spring and summer and fall?
That will happen in the next 2 weeks. We've already started, we will be going and inspecting every tree for emerald ash. But we're not climbing the trees, we're doing it from the ground. We're looking at, woodpecker marks and damage, the crowns of the tree. So that's how we're really doing our diagnosis. So it's from the ground level.
So if you got a woodpecker out front, you got a problem.
But that's a bad sign for that tree.
Okay. All right.
So that is, in terms of large equipment purchases, the stump grinder is a large purchase we're proposing. The other large purchase is a forklift. It allows us to deal with the pallets of different material as we're moving it. Right now, we're using a skid steer to move it around, and that's just not a safe operation to be moving pallets with the wrong piece of equipment.
We're going to get a trailer? Okay, how are you going to transport the forklift around? Would that be on
The forklift will primarily reside within our Public Works building, moving different pellets and different materials that we have around.
Do we need one out in the field at all?
We really don't need a forklift out in the field.
Are you going to get pneumatic tires? And I assume it'll be a propane 5,000 pound?
I don't know about the 5,000 pound. I have to do some more investigation. We are proposing it would be propane pneumatic.
There's a pretty good used marketplace out there. You may want to take a look at. You have the mechanical staff on board already to maintain it, and it's not going to be a high use. So they have some extended life periods, especially the pneumatics. So.
Sounds good. Good point.
Trustee Markport.
I'm sorry to backtrack a little bit because I was just paging through. On page 110, electric supply, and what it has, a net increase of $4,200 is proposed, reflecting an increase of $3,700 for Lake Charles well and $500 for other bill location. What does that entail, or what?
Yeah, so out of the overall increase of $4,200, all but $500 of that is at White Deer Run electric charges for the well.
And then,
So out of Lake Charles, water is drawn to irrigate White Deer Run. There's also the Greg's Landing HOA, Greg's Parkway, Huntington also utilizes Lake Charles to irrigate their landscaping. So really the extra charge is due to last year's summer and during the drought that they had to keep everything. Both HOA and the golf course had to keep their greens watered.
now, we pay for that, or does White Deer Run reimburse us for the expenditure of this?
We pay for the golf course, well, our leasee pays for the White Deer Run is our charge. In terms of Greg's Landing, we do not charge them for the electrical charge.
And they get free water. And they get the water for nothing.
Their only opportunities for water is Lake Charles or paying for Lake County Public Works
How do you
water.
water around your house?
Those are their two options.
I pay for it.
That's what I thought.
Well, this is the actual
I understand.
parkway itself.
I don't.
Yeah, okay, and that's sprinklered, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. I mean, what would you think how would you actually, allocate that? I mean,
What we could do, if there is to be a charge to the HOA, we would have a meter installed on their system as it draws it out the north end of the lake. There'd be a meter, and we can read our meter, read their meter, and prorate what the cost is for electrical.
Wasn't there an agreement put in place initially between the
yeah,
HOA
that's
and the village?
Right,
And
there's.
What was the term of that agreement?
There's ability for drawdown. I haven't looked at it for a long, long
sure
time.
there
This
is
came
a
up a number of years ago.
The
But again, it's one of those strange things, and I'll pay all due respect to my predecessor. I mean, it was a great agreement. It's a public road that the HOA is basically maintaining, sans the pavement, of course, but the rights of way, which normally a municipality would maintain. So
right.
I guess one could argue a bit of, not compromise, but we do supply the water.
I mean, it's a large
Charles.
bermed area. There's no
Yeah.
question about it, which is kind of unique to any other neighborhoods.
Right.
Which
And
is-
then as you know, White Deer Run, our lease agreement requires us to provide that water, so.
what do we got, 18 years left, or 17, or?
2024,
We extended
so
it.
12 more
Yeah.
years.
12 more years?
12?
How many? It's 20.
12.
2024.
No. 20,
2024,
12 years.
12 years.
Some of us may still be alive.
Yeah, maybe, sure. Okay, Trustee Williams?
Since we're talking about paying or not paying, I guess is the question, are we still paying for the electric for the outdoor lighting on that one condominium association there?
Which location is
It's
that?
the
Oh,
first one
yeah, it's
off of North Huntington,
Right.
Inverness?
on
Yeah.
the south. Thank you, Inverness, whatever it is, the first one. I
Right.
can never remember the name of it.
Well, I think, Trustee Williams, I think
bring it up
we
every
looked
year.
into that, but I don't recall the answer. So
I
rather
can
than
give you
guess,
the
let me.
answer. It's on our meter.
Right, but I
That came from our previous Public Works Director.
Right, but I think some of that's in the public right-of-way, but let's check that out. Dave, remind me, let's pull out the approvals and everything and see who owns what.
I'm
and then we'll
speaking
let you know.
specifically of the lights on the garage and the street lighting, but I know the lights on the garage were also included in it because unless our previous Public Works Director didn't know what he was talking about, because he was the one that told me that.
Well, I think as I recall.
And I believe he told us that at a board meeting.
Part of the problem is, with any of those, is separating the charges, and I'm having a vague recollection, but let's look into that. Because when you do that, you have to spend a considerable amount of money to meter
Yeah.
this chunk versus meter this and take it off of the, but let's check.
Well,
it.
isn't this something you could just check with Commonwealth Edison?
Absolutely, and I think from a technical standpoint, what we may find is the majority of the roadway is public and we have street lights. I believe the street lighting system may also have one light that is within their circular landscaped area. There may be one light that is at the end of each of those streets that is tied into ours.
What Trustee Williams is referencing is actually what, like garage lights?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
The outdoor
I
lighting
will
in the garage?
definitely.
Yeah, the carriage lights
I'll
on the
look into that
garage
for
is
you.
stretched.
I'll look
That's
into
what I've
that
been
for you.
saying for
Yeah.
how long have I been back on the board now?
Yeah.
Every year I brought it up.
Trustee Williams,
Let's see.
I'm
Bring it up.
the street lighting, those additional poles, I suspect that we may be paying for those. In terms of lights on people's garages, I think the way things are wired, I'm speculating that's going to be difficult, that they would have wired it that way. But I need to look into that for you, and I will.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And it would, you know, yeah, I mean, it would be kind of strange when you think about it, if it was wired up to the streetlights, but.
That's what
Stranger-
previous public
yeah.
workers did.
All right, well, maybe this is the year we'll get closure.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from the board? If not, total,
Well, the one question, your copy machine requires compression. I gotta ask, you gotta hold it down? It's just like my printer at home, so I got my left hand on the printer, my right hand on the mouse?
When you're running it, you gotta hold
She
it
has,
physically.
it's an old vintage, black and white, copier. It doesn't do double siding, and she does have to physically put her elbow down to make sure the rollers are turned. And I guess what I'm really saying
Got
is
it.
it's
Yeah, no,
outdated
it's
and.
just like at home, okay. I can commiserate, that's fine, replace it.
all right, yeah, you know, and these, I guess these are questions for maybe even Larry Nacker to jump in. You know, just looking at employee FICA contributions, you show Matt Bartlett on page 118, 26,000, then 3,951, and then, huh? What is, how did you come up with these numbers?
Well,
30.
what the system does, and boy, that
Oh, it's at
that
the
I
does,
mean, it kind of looks out of whack.
that does look out of whack. I'd have to,
It is out of whack?
yeah.
Well, I'd go back to the opening statement page where the fringe is up 9.22%, but all the other departments' fringe is down.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe there's some,
I think it's Matt's that's throwing it off.
Yeah.
No,
No,
that does not make any sense. I apologize for not
Yeah.
having
because
caught
that's
that.
over $30,000 in FICA.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's significant.
Yeah.
And then another question along, there's another one on here that's for employee IMRF contribution. Chris Zager? It's like $38,000?
Yeah.
David,
Oh, my God.
what is it?
Yep.
How do you say his last name?
Zadar,
Dave Z.
Dave Z?
you know what I'm gonna do?
There's just some bombers in
Well,
here.
you know what? Give me 1 second to, because
I'll give you till next week if you want. I mean,
We don't have
That
to
would
break
be
like
good,
that. You
yeah.
can
no,
do it later.
because what did happen with this system, we had, we've had a heck of a time. We upgraded Munis, and we've had a heck of a time getting things to line up when they print it out in the Crystal Report. And I think what I'm about to find out, like, if you just bear with me 1 second, is that it's just a misalignment, that I do a calculation on all of the part-timers, I'm sorry, all the overtime, holiday, career development, those type things, and then do a single calculation on that.
So, well, give me Matt's, then, you know, the justification.
So I think what, so give me 1 second, and I will look at the actual explanation. I'm on the wrong. I'm sorry.
While Larry's doing that, maybe I could take the time to go over two specific things that I think are certainly things the board wants to know about. Today in the salt purchase for next year, I didn't have the luxury of knowing what a nice winter we would have in terms of snow plowing, our need for salt. What you approved earlier tonight was a reduction of 400 tons of salt that we're going to order. That is not reflective in our budget, and we need to reduce it by 400 times 64. So that's, what, $25,600 and change. So
That
we need to.
covers Matt's 36.
So it's even. So I'm saying it's even now. So, and so really what we need to do, and I'm informing the board, the number that you ultimately approved, we need to reduce it by that extra roughly $25,600. There's one other additive item, and I know we talked about the VHAC just a second ago. In terms of the dugout roofs, we need to find a way to pay for those roofs. When we went through the capital improvement plan, it was something I had hoped that we could absorb in our existing budget.
Yeah, which
I'm
fields
struggling
did you
to
say?
do that.
Which field?
Fields 5 and 6 for the roofs.
Are we gonna try to do that this spring?
In talking with, going through the scheduling and the needs, we're looking to do it in August, and the users of the fields are fine with it being done in August after the season's over, instead of trying to do this work before it starts.
What if we started now? Would it get done?
We
You
need,
kinda need it for sun protection, right?
yes.
You know what I mean?
You're talking about the Stinger fields.
The
the one-
girl.
field.
Yeah.
We did meet with the Stingers. We have talked with Mark Peterson and the group, and they're okay with it being in August because of the conflicts. We could try to start working on it now, but we're gonna have to pull down the fence. We're gonna have to add additional poles and the roof, and then put the fence back up at the each end of each day, so it would be problematic. Their season's gonna start fairly soon, so.
Yeah.
Actually, the high school is using our fields already for games, so the seasons had started for some of the programs.
Yeah.
So, can I get back to the FICA question?
I'm sorry, yes.
First of all, just as a little introduction, we did do an upgrade this year, and while the numbers were not a problem, what was a problem, and we spent a lot of time correcting that, and it was a very tedious process, was the way things lined up. And in this particular case, the 26,408, and this is the way Crystal pulled, there's some incompatibilities which we're going to resolve when we upgrade to SQL, long story short. But what that 26,408 is the FICA for all overtime, part-time, and bonuses as a whole. So it's items not assigned to individual people.
No.
And Matt Bartlett's FICA is $39.51, and his Medicare is $924. So the dollars aren't wrong, but the lineup was erroneous.
So where's the 26 should go where?
Well, the 26 should have the description FICA for overtime, part-time, and bonus.
And it's a grand total?
Right, that's a grand total for the entire department for all items not tied to individuals. So for example.
Wait. So if I,
So
okay,
rather than the title Matthew or Bartlett Matthew, it should have a different title.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
Larry? Okay.
Right.
no, wait.
So there are 3 Matthew Bartletts there. There should only be 2.
2, right.
There should be
Yeah.
one for Medicare, for FICA, and one
Like
for
a form of
Medicare.
Medicare.
And the
But you're-
first one
okay.
is for the overtime, part-time, kind of
And
a
bonus.
catch-all.
So where are you gonna plug the 26,408 in?
That is,
That's
Well,
the
that is a
total.
FICA payment.
I know, but where, do you want it to line up with the very first, I mean, the captain?
No, the first Matthew
Change the
Bartlett
description only.
Change
should
the
be
description.
part-timers.
The top map,
Yeah,
Bartlett is not Bartlett.
Right.
So, okay,
it's supposed to be,
Part-timers.
it'd be part-time over,
Holiday pay, overtime.
It's basically the FICA and Medicare that's assigned to all salary types that are not assigned to an individual. So it's overtime, part-timer, bonuses, those items.
that's like, which comes first.
Because we don't know which employees are gonna work overtime or work extra hours. So,
okay, so the happy total will still be $114,999.
Right, that doesn't change the total.
Okay,
which I then go back and have a problem with because everybody else's fringe went down and this is the only department where fringe went up.
And fringe went up for a couple of reasons. One of which is that part-timers, we're more conservative about part-timers than we have been in the past about if IMRF is applicable, could potentially be applicable.
Because if they work over X amount of hours.
Because they work over
Right.
1,000 hours.
Then you have to-
And then previously, I'd say we make the assumption we were good enough that we could catch somebody at 980 hours. And we've had enough experience with that to know we're not that good. And then the other piece of it is we increased the time of a part-timer from under the 1,000-hour limit to over the 1,000-hour limit. So it's really the IMRF fact is where that increase is most substantial. And that goes up from 164,000 to 187,000.
Okay.
So it's also reflecting that 500
so where's the
hours.
38,000 go on David,
Dave Z.
whatever?
On David Zadariak, that I can almost say with certainty, but I'll verify it, is IMRF for overtime, bonuses, part-time.
Because it's showing two Dave Z's.
Right.
Right,
Okay.
right, and
So that's gonna be potentially the same as
Right.
the FICA.
And long story short, we've been on the Informix database for 11 years. We're probably the last one of the last Munis participants to not move to SQL. We are moving to SQL. And a lot of these incompatibilities that we struggled with this past year are going to disappear.
Yeah, okay. All right, so you're gonna
Take care.
clean this up a little?
Yeah, well, actually, this type of named information does not go in the final document. It's just in the document.
Just for us to-
Here,
All right, so then, no, okay.
not this one.
No, I tried to write it that way. Couldn't work.
Is that even true on, you think the health insurance contributions are correct?
Yes, because there's no additional item that gets added in for health insurance.
Okay, all right. Any other comments or questions from the board on this Public Works budget? So the budget that you're seeking approval of is $4,281,159 for the Public Works budget for fiscal year 2012 and 13.
And if I can offer one amendment, which is, I would like to propose to the board that we reduce the salt line item by 400 times the cost that we purchased it. It's roughly $25,600. And if we could add some money in for the fields 5 and 6 dugout roofs.
How much, yeah?
$15,000
A piece?
total.
Yeah, but it's for the dugout and it's for the
It's-
whole dugout.
It's for posts, it's for the roof, it's for some fencing, and we will reappropriate some of the money that we have from this year and push towards next year
Sure.
to help offset some of the costs.
Okay.
So moved with the amendment as noted.
Second.
And there's a motion, a second, or comments or questions. I mean, I know do we have a lot of I guess, parts that are just parts we can't use on any of our equipment or anything like that, that's been accumulated over the years in our inventory?
I'm sorry, parts? in
Parts
terms-
to repair or,
Like to repair
Off-
69 Dodge
off,
Dart.
off-road, or any of our
It's-
off-road equipment or any of our existing
We,
equipment?
we have accumulated a lot of that over the years. 2 board meetings ago, we went out to auction to get rid of a lot of these excess parts, things that we should not be storing. And actually, we made a couple of dollars in terms of that auction. So we've pretty much got rid of anything that's excess that we do not need.
And who actually has the ultimate control of, the purchasing process? In other words, how many people can go and just buy things that are work for Public Works?
In terms of purchases, at the crew leader level, they are all allowed to purchase. It does go through the approval process that I need to sign off on it,
Right.
and others too.
Yeah, especially if they're in the field and they need something like now.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we do allow, on a limited basis, credit cards for if they're running over to our Home Depot to pick up some parts. They're going to Lowe's to pick something up. They do have some credit cards.
And I
for
guess
that.
is Lawson Products, cleaned up their act?
Yes.
No. I'm asking staff. That was a company,
I know who Lawson
okay?
is, yes.
You know the story about it?
I
They're a
don't know
client
the
of
story.
mine, and I can speak to that.
Good, because they got in a lot of trouble.
Yes,
and
they
got
did.
fined
$30
severely.
million in
Okay.
fine.
Because they were
And the-
giving gift certificates out to people in Public Works Department.
That was
And
through-
we looked into that, and we were good, we were clean, but
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, are we doing business with those guys?
We do business with them.
They have
We
brown
make sure
water.
that we do not accept any gifts, and I
Yeah, okay.
appreciate you pointing that out.
Lawson
within
Lawson
reason.
has changed their entire management team. The family who was in place was summarily let go. The entire management team is new. The Drummond Division, which is located here,
Yeah.
which was the source of the problem. It was not Lawson that he deals with. That is the Fasteners Division. This was Drummond, and that was a subsidiary, and that has all been changed, and they're fine.
And the
They're a
location,
shrinking company. They're not doing exceedingly well, but they're still a player in that fastener market and the maintenance shop.
and the location within our town, they did work very well with us. They allowed a easement so we could get that bike path from the Cougars onto the old
Yeah,
Nike
okay.
base, so that's my only interactions with them.
You mentioned something earlier, I'm sorry to go backwards, but you said that if they're out in the field and they need something, they can run over with a credit card and buy it. What is the limit? Or do you have a limit set on how much you can run over to the store and use the credit card for? Without coming to you first?
I believe it is 500, but I'd have to double check that. We have a Home Depot card, and I believe a couple of other
Yeah.
hardware store, but
And
I'd
just-
have to double check
Yeah.
the limits.
In terms of the controls, any employee doesn't just go over to one of those stores. They go through their crew leader, division head,
I understand.
to approve that
I
purchase.
understand.
And I'll also make the comment that on purchases over $1,000, we do check to make sure there are at least, we have a set of criteria where they're verbal quotes, where they're written quotes, and we go through that.
And how many credit cards are there out there?
That was gonna be my next question.
Village-wide or
Well, just say in Public Works.
Public Works, I think we're in the 6.
You know,
Why?
this is
But
one of those
remember,
moments I
those are,
wish-
those are store cards,
I don't
not
care.
Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah.
Well, it would be the same difference as giving someone
And there's a
PO
limitation.
authorization. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's no different than walking
One
in.
credit card for my entire branch. One card. If they want something, they've got to come to me and get the card. If I'm not there, they have a limit of what they can go spend on that card.
If I may
This is
interject.
one of those.
And I
moments
gotta tell you, it's less than $500.
Yeah,
This is
well,
one
okay.
of those moments I wish Peggy were here, but I
No,
should be able
yeah,
to.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't think we've ever had a problem per se, I mean, I know I was concerned with that whole Lawson thing, but, thank God we weren't involved in this.
And I think there's a good reason in terms of balancing what we do, in terms of someone going and coming back to our office to get the credit card and go back out. We're going to lose a lot of efficiency. We need to balance in terms of
Right.
what they're
Okay,
trying
I'm
to
curious,
accomplish.
what are they going to buy?
I'm sorry?
What type of things would create the need to run to the store?
Electric,
Fitting out.
electric wire, conduit.
We don't stock any of that?
We typically do. For certain projects, you have the majority of it, and then it's like a lot of projects, I don't have this
I know
or
you wouldn't
that,
have
so we have to
100%
run out.
Everything needed. I was just curious as to what they would be needing to run to the store and get in the middle of a job.
Yeah, so a lot
They're
of it,
involved in a project I could only imagine because it's a process.
yeah, it is.
And it seems like if you've ever been involved in a process at your house, the process takes many trips to.
Minimum three.
Takes many trips to the store, but, it's fine, but, and these are they're like store cards.
Yeah, they are store cards.
Yeah, I mean, like for Cutler and Menards and
I don't.
Home
Home
Depot.
No, Home
I know,
Depot.
it's immaterial.
Home Depot, Lowe's.
Yeah, okay, most everything's in town.
It
Okay.
is.
Yes. And there's also downsides to having too much inventory too.
Right, I agree with that, yeah,
Very true.
because that can get thorny in
Very
itself. Which I could.
But I found it interesting that we have a line item for batteries for $1,500. A's, triple A's, 9-volt C and D's.
That's shot.
And I think that's great. Where are you storing $1,500 worth of batteries? Never mind, I withdraw the question.
Could be a car battery.
Okay, all right,
Well,
any
that's what they
other,
go by.
In my flashlight.
is there any other questions on the Public Works budget? Okay, so the amount of the budget, which I had before, okay, is there a motion, do we have a motion and a second on this already? Okay,
Two-way
all right, roll call then.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
And for the record, I'd vote aye.
Thank you.
Motion
Thank you.
carries. What else?
So now,
You want to keep going, or you want to go to closed session? What's the board's pleasure? How long is closed session going to take, Matt?
It shouldn't take too long. It's items you've discussed before. It's just
Oh, my
the final
Computer went to sleep.
yeah. And
decision.
we just
on it.
have 3 more budgets to go through.
Yeah, let's do them.
Okay.
We just got administration, president,
Public Works,
board.
we've done.
Okay,
Administration's
next is residents benefit fund, direct benefit fund.
Okay.
Oh,
Basically, it's 3 items.
Thank you.
Which are, for the most part, the same levels or slightly reduced. We have grants still at 23,000. We have reverse communication at 15,800, and the VHAC site maintenance is slightly down.
Better do tie that.
And I'm sorry, can I just take 2 seconds for two comments on prior topics? One is that Dave and Mike can attest, these numbers we went through for a long time, since January. The descriptions were an issue, but I'd hate to think that we did miss some, but I still attest to the credibility of the numbers. And the second thing is I finally caught Trustee Schultz's point that the logic of the VHAC fund made a lot more sense when we were getting regular payments from the school district, and that probably makes less sense now. So I will rethink that. Now I'll get back to the budget.
Well, yeah, on that one, yeah, because they lump sum paid
Yeah.
us, what, $900,000?
Right, and they were supposed to continue through the year 2020, so,
They're
yeah.
done with- Yeah, so we're square with them.
Yeah, we're square with them, and so I should adjust the accounting to reflect
Yeah,
that. And
okay.
I apologize for my density on that one.
Who's Trustee Cook, right? Yeah.
There's one line item on the VHAC landscaping for $6,000 of the mulch. Is that all through, like our contractor does the landscaping or that, or?
Yes, that's the mulch that is placed by Acres as part of the landscape maintenance contract.
Because I was wondering if there was any way we could purchase any of it through the Cougar mulch thing that they do. It would be a way that we could, contribute some money to the Project Turf and still cover some. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Yeah, under this arrangement, the $6,000 is for their labor to do that. What we do is actually we take some of our excess chips, we have it double ground, and then we supply that to the
So we create our own?
contractor.
Okay.
We do.
Okay, not a problem. Thanks.
Good question.
Okay.
In terms of the overall VHAC budget, Tom Bretman's done a fantastic job over the last couple of years. He's doing more general contracting of the project, doing labor also as appropriate, instructing Public Works staff. Specifically, the budget is balanced compared to year after year. So the last couple of years, his dollar amount is consistent, with the exception this year we are adding some additional monies because of the lacrosse tournament. So that is really the additive element, is some of the extra costs associated with the lacrosse tournament. It's not a lot of money, but that's really the net difference. By some of his efforts, instead of last year, we reconstructed infield number 3. We can do that in-house. It's just we're not as efficient. He was able to absorb 2 different fields, fields 1 and 4, within this budget, that we could contract that out and have that accomplished. The fields are aging, so that would allow us that we have at least 3 out of the 6 infields completely redone by the end of the year. So, but that is all absorbed within the same budget dollar amount as the previous year.
And with that said, the budget went down, even adding the lacrosse.
Now, within the budget, you've got $28,000, I believe, for the service grants. And we have the last page of the meeting minutes is the service grants. How do we want to do we want to go back to the last page of the committee of the whole here and go through this spreadsheet at this juncture?
Is it going to be part of this, or?
Well, it's part of the budget. That's why we put it way at the end of that budget
It's gonna
section.
be a separate-
You know, it's part of the
Right.
budget. Eh,
So-
Along with the Project Turf.
Right, well, you've got,
Noted.
we've got 28,000 in the budget, we've got 31,1 requested, and 25,000 is last year's. We have 3 different numbers, which would we like to pick from, I guess, is for that budget.
24, oh, I'm sorry, it should be 24,500. I'm sorry, and here I say 23, it should actually be 24,500.
Also, if I can add, on the social service grants, something that came up since we developed those, and we didn't send anything out to them, but some of you are familiar with Fresh Start of Illinois, and they're a networking nonprofit that works with people that are unemployed in Libertyville. And maybe just to throw out they're looking for fundraising opportunities, and they, periodically, their volunteer director, contacts me. He's also involved in electric
Does that
aggregation supply.
Godfrey?
Tom Godfrey.
Yeah, that's the.
And so I just would add that as one to consider too, if you're interested in adding that to the list.
Yeah.
Are we interested?
There's people from our community that
Oh, yeah,
participate.
I know of some people that they've
Oh, sure.
assisted and networked, yeah, absolutely.
Well-
All of us sitting here know at least one or two.
Yeah.
From,
Well, basically, we have a baseline of 25,000 if we duplicate last year's grants, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. So if you're talking about one more additional one at $1,000 for them, for a fresh start.
So not increasing any of the,
well, we didn't,
that's fine.
Well,
That's fine.
I'm,
No, I'm fine with that.
okay, so that we're now looking at 26,000 as the line item for that, as opposed to 24,500.
well, yeah, I mean, are we gonna discuss these at a committee meeting, or are we?
on the committee.
Well, they're on this
They're on
tonight if you want.
Right.
I mean, you can delay these, obviously, like trustee Schultz said. It's the numbers in that budget document, so if this is your first look at it, if you want to talk about it on the 3rd or the 17th.
Well, no, then we have to delay this.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm good with
Yeah, I'm fine with going with
taking
what
this
trustee
as
Schultz
it
said.
stands.
26,000.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Add this one you talked about and leave everything as it was.
Do you? I don't know, I'd like to take a look at it, I don't know.
Okay.
So therefore, I make a motion to accept the resident benefit with, yeah, what's the number should be, Larry, now?
Now it should be
Big money that we have
232,
with the grant.
225.
This would be for new start.
For,
Two
start
Fresh
25.
start.
Fresh
for
start.
Illinois.
232, 225.
$1,000 in our,
1,500
And
more.
Fresh Start is what?
in our
is that?
fees that we do.
They're,
I don't, you know,
they're
First Start?
helping, they're assisting local
I get
people.
232, 720. Because it's a 50.
Let me see, you're adding 1,500 to it, or?
It was,
To make it
Well,
this isn't
26,000.
We don't,
We get
before we
money
Barb, I would suggest
that's
we get
put,
Okay, so
information
then
we need
distributed to
information.
us.
Seven.
Yeah.
Plug it in.
725.
Right.
725, 232,
To 725.
yeah,
725.
You know what?
I would prefer, yeah, to.
You know, this one, just with the fresh start, maybe we should get some information at least disseminated
What's
to
it
the
about?
board members,
Who are they?
specifically what their mission and goal is. Even,
Who are
I have an understanding, but,
Well,
we have material.
What we could do
Yeah.
is we could go ahead
Put it in
and
there and
approve a
then put it out.
budget and we can
And I can
always
send you-
adjust the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we've allocated
No, we do that for
26,000, we don't have to use all 26,000.
Uh,
If you
I
want to
haven't-
adjust it, right.
I have an email from them that describes what they've
Right, I
done.
guess we
And
should
if
ask
you want
them
more
to-
than
right.
that,
I
I
would
can
ask
certainly, they
them to
have plenty of
put an
information.
application.
I'll send that on to you.
Yeah,
That's, put an application, I said, just give it.
and then we've got that 26, and if we don't use it, all we don't, or
Right.
we've
Right.
got that amount.
Well, that's fine.
Is
Because
everybody
when we-
clear on that?
And we can,
Obviously, this is the budget.
So we're not delineating for anyone, we're
no,
simply
no, just
funding
saying,
the
let's fund
budget.
that amount, and then we want to come back the middle of April
Okay.
and go through and break it down.
Okay,
We can adjust
All
those
right.
numbers
Yeah.
that way too, Barb, yeah.
that's
Right.
fine.
All right, so what do we want to,
So we're
okay.
That's
looking
okay,
at
I agree with
approving
you. As long as it's
2,000
not
As long as it's
earmarked.
going out.
230.
232,725 for the resident benefit budget.
It's fi-
And
yeah.
I have
Is
made
there a
that
motion
motion.
to that extent?
Without being delineated,
And,
correct,
yeah,
correct.
Jim's made that motion, I'll second it, and where we're deleting
Right.
is we're saying for grants, we're increasing that from 24,500 to 26,000, but we'll discuss in more detail
Right,
how we're gonna break that out.
okay. Does everybody concur?
That's fine.
Roll call.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, what else we got? Is that it?
No, we got administration budget,
Oh,
president board and project turf.
all right.
We got three more.
Okay. All right, administration.
Thank you, Your Honor. The administration budget consists of four budgets: the General Administration, Office of Village Manager, Finance, and the cable budget. This year's administrative budget is projected to be $1,954,881, which represents an increase of 2.9% over this year's original budget. Going specifically to the individual budgets, the general administration budget is projected to increase 28.1%, or approximately $40,000 over the previous year's budget. This budget takes into account many of the memberships that the village participates in and reflects, for instance, an increase in the Northwest Municipal Conference budget. It also represents other subscriptions and dues that we pay for the village. Two items to note with regards to the general administration budget relate to the IT and the website primarily. There is a new line item that was unfortunately a fee that was tacked onto us by American Eagle sometime in late fall, and which we had not budgeted or anticipated, and it was to fund the blast email program that we use right now to the tune of $3,600 annually. So that now has been budgeted and included as a part of this. The other is a $40,000 placeholder that will budget the updating of the villages and the police department's web pages. The page right now is about 5 years old and is really outdated, quite frankly, and needs to be redesigned with some enhancement in it that will provide much better information for the residents and anybody who searches our website. So we're budgeting $40,000. We're going to come back with a projection and a 3-year contract, we believe, to bring on a new company that will reduce this amount and spread the cost to do the upgrade over a 3-year period that we will actually realize a savings on by doing it in that respect. So we'll be back to you, but that's the $40,000 in that budget. Regarding the Office of Village Manager, you notice a decrease of 15.6%, or about $80,000. This reflects the elimination of the human resource coordinator's position. It also reflects the national reinstatement of the national conference for the village manager, again, to maintain his credential manager certificate. The other thing that it includes this year is, as you will recall, we did the large holiday mail-out program to about 200,000 households. That actually worked very well. We spent about $18,000 on that again, and that is fully funded again this year. We saw great numbers in attendance, and we'd like to attribute that to a much broader advertising campaign that we did, not only with ourselves, but also with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So that really was great. So that is included in this year's manager's office budget. I'll skip to the cable TV, and then I'll have Larry take care of finance. The cable studio budget is projected to increase 8.3%, or approximately $11,000. What you're seeing in those increases, it's an increase in contractual services for the communication consultant. Lynn Brandel will come in and do more programming with us and with Mike. One of the things that we're using, as I reported to you last time, is that we're using YouTube videos and we're posting those on our website. Not only are we doing Village Board, but we're doing special segments where Lynn and Mike go out, interview businesses, and we post those on our website. So she's been very instrumental in helping with that. She also leads the internal interview process and updates that the staff does on a quarterly basis for Channel 4. So that reflects a $1,000 increase in her amount. The other two items quickly are in equipment, $2,500 for replacing camera lenses on our cameras here, and then a $3,000 replacement for a VCR deck in the cable studio. With those two items, I would also alert the board that we're going to be coming back to you most likely next year with a much more robust request to replace equipment. Some of the digital formatting is coming forth. While we don't have a digital channel on cable 4, or channel 4, I should say, most of the equipment now is going towards the digital formatting. And our equipment here, some of it came over from the other building, but most of it here is 10, 11, 12 years old, and at least a couple years beyond its useful life. We've actually put some Band-Aids on one of our boards upstairs, and we're able to get it repaired, but it's not long for its life as something that's serving this board and the village. So you'll see that from us next year. I don't know, Larry can touch on the finance part.
Finance is up about 91,000 from the original budget, 57,000 from the revised budget. The first thing I'll point out is we have about $26,000 plus about 5,000 in fringes for the part-time human resources administrative assistant. We're still saving more than twice that from the overall administrative budget. The second item I'll make note of is we have $1,260 budgeted for some type of conference for Peggy. It's been a few years since she's been able to attend a Munis conference, and we'll either do that or we'll do some sort of human resources conference. Myself, GFOA is in Chicago, and I'm planning to be able to do that out of this year's budget. Let's see. We have a little bit of it, about $6,000 increase in IT, which is a variety of things, including the end of a promotion on our antivirus software. So we're now having to start paying for it. And the final big change is a $40,000 increase for liability, property, and workers' comp insurance. That's about a 7.5% increase. That's about how much that has been increasing the last few years. Last year it increased only 6.1. Hopefully we'll be closer to that, but we're budgeting a 7.5% increase. So those are the major items, changes in the finance department.
And I guess with that, we can answer any questions you may have.
Trustee Hebda.
John, you were saying that the 18,000 for the Visitors Bureau, that mailer that you sent out, that was just sent out, who was that sent to? I forgot.
There's a service that provides, and everybody gets Value Pack and the other service, and it's an insert that's put in and mailed out to various zones that we selected outside the community. So you as a resident, I don't believe would have gotten it, but we went outside, and the zones are broken up into 10,000 household groupings that allow us then to target where we want to go. So we sent some out west, and we sent some north and west of here. Plus, we also sent a few into Gurnee.
And that just blasted Shop Vernon Hills, or?
Yeah, exactly. We sent the Shop Vernon Hills to Gurnee and those types of things. So,
And that's going to stay the same, or that'll go up next year?
we're projecting it's going to stay the same.
Okay.
You know, and we'll look at it. You know, I think we had really good coverage in the target areas where we thought we would draw people from.
Okay. Did that mailer include anything about the light show?
Oh, it did both. We did one of each.
So, my question would then be, is there a way for Loyola to work with us to send something like that out to its alumni?
We can ask them. I don't know how
If
much.
they would do something like, would that bring anything in or not? I
I
wonder
don't
if
know
there's
how
a way
much
to link
budget
them
they
in.
have
Yeah,
to
probably.
do it. So.
But I wonder if that would bring a link in too, to bring more people into the area to support their
I
effort.
mean, we could talk with them and see, you know, if they'd be willing to take on the graphics and, you know,
Yeah,
do whatever,
maybe they could
you know,
do something.
absolutely.
Okay.
Trustee Cook. Trustee Cook.
You said one of he's replacing the DV cam VCR deck. Is that a conversion deck from the DVs to VCR? I mean, how much are we still doing with video cassettes?
We have some video cassettes, but it's very, very, very limited. This is a deck. It's a disc thing, and I don't know, Mike, you're up there, and you can probably talk a little bit more. Unless he's watching.
He's coming down.
No, because I mean, video cassettes are,
Right, right. It's very limited. In fact, I don't think it is that, but
even most of the handheld cameras now are getting away from those mini
Mike,
cassettes.
can I have a glass of water while you're?
You're coming this way.
That's actually why we brought you down here.
I don't need any ice, just cold, just water.
It's a new deck for to take DV cam
Want to state
tapes.
your name for the record?
Sorry, Mike Stordo. Need my address or?
We know where you live.
Okay. A new deck. We got a camera about 2 years ago, a new DV cam camera. So to put that into our system, we've been playing it out of the camera, using my camera as a deck for the last year and a half,
Gotcha.
2 years.
So what it's
Right. So this deck will take care of playing it
so
back. into our
adapt the
system.
mini DVs down
Right.
to the cassette.
Right, so it can
to the
play out of,
full-size
instead of
cassette.
playing it out of a camera and wearing the heads on the camera, just playing a deck like you would at home,
Gotcha.
like a DVD
Okay.
player.
Yeah.
Deck of things like
we
that.
don't use the big tapes, right?
Yeah.
We use the big tape still for when we do things in the studio with residents come in or tours and things like that, or with Willard and so forth. There's tapings with staff and things like that for shows. Our studio is still using tape. So I can record that onto anything, but it still has the capability to use tape in the studio.
No, but that makes sense because then saves wear and tear on the heads
Yes,
on the camera
exactly,
itself. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's the main focus of
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
Stordo is frugal. I'll pay him that compliment. He was hauling around a cathode ray tube TV the other day.
That was
So
big
he
and
hasn't
heavy.
replaced that with a nice
Well, that's a
lightweight.
collector's item.
Yeah, he was hauling that baby around on a
But it
cart.
still works.
So, yeah, it still works, so.
Until it doesn't, knock on wood.
I sent you an email when he made the comment that Channel 4 was not in HD or not digital. Does that mean that Channel 4 will work without a converter box after April?
No, it won't.
Okay.
So everybody will need,
Even for Channel 4,
Even for
you're going to
Channel
have to have a
So
converter
so
box.
the
Digital,
31
yeah.
remaining channels that have not needed a box are all gone.
correct.
Right.
So everyone that didn't already receive the letter, what was it, about a year
ago, yeah.
Actually, I got a letter 2 days ago.
Yeah, there's
Did
some
you
that
get another
just
one?
came out with
Okay,
another
because I know
one.
Mike got one
Yeah.
and everything, so you
No,
should
but we
have
had
got-
like 30 channels or so that were
Right,
not affected.
right, but now
And
you need one
even
for
they're-
those,
Now-
right, like Mike needed one for those and everything like that, so we're taking care of the people who now
And-
needed some.
After your 2 free boxes, I have 6 TVs, sorry. So I have 2 digital boxes, and then I have 2 of these converters. Now, if I want the last 2 TVs to work, the one in front of my bike in the basement and then the one in the 4th bedroom, I can get 2 more boxes, but they're gonna cost me $1.99 a month.
Correct.
So I'm not a happy camper that Comcast is gouging me for another $4 plus taxes.
You need that box you just carry from room to room from, what?
That-
Is that AT&T?
Yeah, right, the DVR.
Well,
thing.
I know people that carry their dish boxes between here and their vacation homes, but no, I'm very, very upset with Comcast over this, as I've let Manager Allison know, and Mr. Stordo here, that I think this is just one more opportunity for Comcast to rip off the public. And I'd be happy to see a Comcast representative in front of this august board to explain why they need this.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
not
They've always
everybody's
been
at
willing to come in if
AT&T.
we need them to come in and talk.
Well, that's-
Mike,
Definitely
it would
set
be
that up.
nice
Believe
to
me.
have competition, but that's a whole other subject.
Yeah, it'd be nice. That's a whole nother.
Well,
Which
and
we
I'd
don't
I'd
have
also,
100% competition.
but I'd also like to have them come in, and I'd like to, and I will run this by the powers that be at the school, because we're wired for cable throughout the school, but we're now limited to only stuff that comes in through the main, I mean, we'll be limited to one channel, and that'll be the school channel, and in order for it to be broadcast in the school, the main channel's gonna have to broadcast whatever it is, and the whole building will get it. There's, the TV sets in every room will no longer function
Oh, right.
at all,
Uh-huh.
once that happens. Because you can't bring a converter box, for whatever reason, those little converter boxes do not work on that kind of a system. So, believe me, I tried, I brought mine in from the house just to check and see, because as a social studies teacher, there are events that
Well, I mean,
occur that I'd like to
we'll
use
talk
the
with them,
TV
because
set, but I
obviously, every
can't.
school might be running into a similar situation, so
Yep.
we might
Right.
be doing something. All right, well,
And since part of the deal with Comcast when we built those
Right.
schools was to
Right.
provide that service, I'd
Correct.
like to see what we can work out.
Correct.
We have to take our issue with AT&T to a higher level. Due to the fact, I actually have the device at the end of the street, and it doesn't do Greenvale and, it doesn't do all over
Or you
town.
can't get AT&T still?
AT&T.
No, I don't, you
It's not
get
in my
it?
neighborhood either.
I don't get it either.
No, it's like,
We can't, we don't get it here.
Oh, is that right? I haven't tried.
yeah.
No.
I talked in
Oh,
Springfield.
yeah,
to
well,
our,
that's besides the
person.
point. I'm just talking, we gotta kick it up to a higher level. It would be nice. I mean, you thought there was gonna be competition, and there really isn't in a lot of parts of town.
I know, I can't get, I've been in there.
Well, they're
Hey.
required to be within the state, like a percentage of the state. It's not each community.
All right, yeah,
That's
well-
the problem, is that,
And
You know.
that covers them.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, okay, great.
Well, can we bring both of them in here just to have a public flogging?
We can try. I think we'll have better.
Oh, yeah?
I had mine within 2 weeks. And that was the New Century telling. He lives closer to the.
I gotta call somebody up that knows how to do it at the box. There's gotta be an AT&T guy in there,
Maybe we just run a wire down there.
I guess.
See what.
Yes, we need a public flogging, so
Okay, and have them both in.
bring them both in. Bring them all
Sure we
in.
can get Comcast. I'm not so sure about the other company,
Yeah.
so.
Comcast.
We'll try.
Well, Comcast has got the whole town, or DirecTV, but, okay, is that about it on this?
Thanks,
or-
Mike.
Any other
Thank you,
questions for
Michael.
Stordo, or?
He's going upstairs.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
Motion to approve the administration budget.
Which is it?
Second.
This $1,945,881.
$954.
954.
954.
881.
Where is it?
1954881.
The administrative budget.
Yeah, 1954881.
Yeah, okay.
You said 4-5.
Oh, okay, well, my eyes are starting
I
to
know,
cross on me.
starting
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Williams? Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Okay,
W.
President and Board, W.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Us boards.
That's correct. Your budget reflects a $200 or a $400 increase over last year, and it reflects a slight increase in IML costs related to lodging, and also a slight increase in chamber mixers. Basically, it's $200 apiece. And that's the only change from the budget from last year, unless you would like to add or take something out.
I just, man, I don't know if I'm gonna go, but because I haven't gone in 4 years, but, I don't know. No, as far as going back to the International Council of Shopping Center thing. Yeah, maybe. Well, from people we've talked to, at least they're gonna have a better turnout, a much better turnout, but I don't know. If we put it in there, that doesn't mean I'm going.
I put it in.
We'll put it in.
How much, I forget what it was.
About $1,000, and then there's travel money in the budget already, so I think it
Oh,
would be
okay.
about
Well, then the plane thing, we just figure that out, right? Yeah.
Right.
I would think it'd be cheap to go to, no, we're not in that. We don't belong to that one, do we?
What's that?
We don't belong to US Conference of Mayors.
No.
No. We never joined it.
Or
I don't
National
know.
League of Cities.
I went one
Yeah.
time. And that was, but we don't
We
belong to the
dropped
League
that.
of, the League of Cities either.
Right.
I don't, there's a lot of towns around here too, but I don't know, just paying attention to what's going on in Springfield is kind of a full-time job, I think.
Yeah.
I was depressed when I came back from there with Mike.
Okay, so we need a motion to.
Oh, yeah,
approve
okay,
this.
so,
Are you-
what do we,
I have
we
a
gotta put
question.
anything else in, or it's in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can do $1,000
Okay.
and be okay.
All right.
Question I have is, I've noticed that we now have clothing allowances and all the other budgets that we've approved. Does there need to be a clothing allowance? Because my Vernon Hill shirts are getting a little ratty.
I never had one.
Well, it's more than one, I think, but.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the last shirt we got, did we buy a shirt for the 50th?
Oh, yeah, we got shirt, and we used to buy shirts.
Yeah.
I
remember
should,
that.
I should caution, just so everyone watching this knows, this is some modest logo wear.
Yes.
This isn't like going
Yeah,
out
that's-
and buying
Right.
a leather, like the police department's leather jackets with a
No, this would
Village
be like,
logo on it.
Golf shirt.
This is
Golf
like
shirt
golf,
and a dress-
a couple golf shirts. It's $100 a person for logo wear, so it's.
Is that covers a dress shirt, like a long sleeve one?
Yeah, I think people generally,
Not
like,
much. Those
different
couple
people in the
$30
office do dress shirts, polo shirts.
Yeah, the
Right.
Blue shirt.
Yeah, with the.
Yeah.
blue-
30 bucks, 35
Yeah,
bucks?
maybe.
I'd
That'd
like
be
to
enough,
just-
100
Yeah.
bucks.
Yep, so it's $700.
Oh, because I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
He can take it out of the candy fund.
If you were to add the $1,000 for travel and, for the ICSC and the $700 for clothing, the new amount would be $70,586.
Motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hamda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Motion carries. Brad, last but not least is Project Turf, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Did you get the social service grants?
the who?
Well,
Yeah,
we-
they're.
Well, we already kind of,
But
yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
talk about it more.
Okay. Project Turf has nothing in it. So,
Is that under no?
everybody knows, we talked about this, we had, obviously Dennis Donlin in, and we had, Brian McDonald, the AD at the high school, and I guess this is the time where we should be plugging a number in.
Well, we all agreed that we would be a banker to the,
Yeah, they don't want to do that.
why not?
Yeah, they don't need that. I mean, should I relate our
Yeah,
discussion?
they-
Yeah, I mean, they said that they felt that if they were going to do it in that manner, they would just finance it themselves.
Who is they?
128.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the.
Yeah, we had
the school
a
district.
meeting with them afterwards, because
So-
apparently they went back and told 128, and, and again, I mean, they're into it, obviously, $300,000. Mike, do you have, what did they actually have 500 in hand? Or it's always,
I believe
it's always
they-
a moving,
I
kind of a
think they
moving
have
target.
like in the 400s in cash, as they say.
Right.
And then some other commitments beyond that. And then the school district has 300,000.
Well, that was for, if you're gonna
So I
use
think they
natural
had
grass.
500 to 600,000 in real money.
And this is realistically, this is, they think they can do this for, what was the budgetary amount? About 900 or less?
I believe so. Yeah, well,
Which means it
there-
could be more.
Right. There's
Yeah.
some ancillary things, as Dave has talked to me about, that, they have to take into account. You know how people focus on, here's the project we're doing, you have to look at the peripheral improvements that you need to do, so.
Right.
And this all has to be done as part of prevailing wage because of the board's contribution,
I
128.
believe so because, well, it's on their property, remember,
Right,
too. So I believe schools are under the prevailing wage, just like municipalities are, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, we talked about, $100,000, but do we want to do it, and then just address it again, in next year's budget? Whether there's anybody wants to make another donation. Or do you want to commit over a 2-year period to $200,000?
No.
Okay, I'm just putting it out there. Well, with that said, though, I mean, it'll benefit a lot of people
I agree.
in the town.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah,
with
'cause-
that,
and it-
But I think there's other ways of finishing up with them getting their money. We told them if they fell short, we would try to come up with 100,000.
Yeah, well, they would definitely take that.
I'm sure they would, but I don't think they're gonna be short.
Oh, I think they will be. I think they're pretty tapped out with corporate and individual donations. This process is going on at least a couple of years.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah, a good year and a half.
Yeah. No, I think,
Which
we're-
means they're short how much as of right now?
Well,
Nobody
you know
knows.
what,
Lot.
the high school, actually can, they'll make a decision themselves,
Well,
as far
they're
as
going
what-
out for bid, so they're making a commitment to move ahead.
Right,
and,
yeah, the bid specs are out, and I think
Yeah.
they're expecting bids back this week. And
Mhm.
then I don't know when.
And they want to be ready in August
Yeah,
to play football there.
right,
They're
So,
supposed to be.
right. So,
What do they have in hand now? They have 300,000
Well-
from 128.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't bring my notes with me.
Okay.
They're short, it sounded, Mayor, something like maybe $300,000.
Yeah, they're not
or
that
more.
short. I mean, overall, they really are not, considering the overall cost,
Mhm.
they're not.
Well,
really
they've
that
got, so in other words, they've got 2/3 of what they need, but they need 300,000 more.
Right.
We have the deepest pockets, so therefore they're looking at us.
Of course they are, so does the Park District, so does everybody else in town.
oh, well, but we don't always we don't always give it to people,
Don't make me
Well, we got paid back $1.6 million on the football stadium.
And as you know, the Park District did, I think that agreement is actually signed, so they really did their
Yeah.
arrangement with them. So,
You're talking now, I'm talking past.
100,000, but benefits.
Could be.
Whatever, I don't have any, I don't think we have an intention to tie it into that.
No, no,
for
I'm not
God's sake.
saying that
Yeah,
to us.
yeah, that's okay. I mean, I would say I'd recommend $100,000, and if we, whoever's sitting here, for next year's budget, which I assume we all will be.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
the
yeah.
election is.
Yeah, well, it's in April, right? So,
Right.
I don't know, but bottom line is that, we can address it, for the 2013, 2014, but,
Which
Well,
one
it'll
would
be
we
in
add it to?
place, though. I mean, right, the field will be in
Well,
place.
I know.
So,
well, then-
well, how are they gonna finance, I guess, who's gonna sign the note?
well, I think
Well,
the
they
high
are.
school's.
They're gonna, the high school said they're proceeding. They're going out for
Yeah.
they're going out for bids, and they're gonna build it.
Oh, well, the high school don't pay.
So,
Okay.
Did you hear what Roger
yeah.
and Mike said, that when they met with them and said that we would loan them the money, blah, 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 and they said they wouldn't be interested?
Right.
They'd finance it themselves?
Yeah, but with
Right.
that said, I don't want,
So
yeah, go
So
ahead,
that
Are
tells
they
me
fi-
they're not hurting for the money.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I think.
I don't
we-
have a problem with giving a donation,
I
don't
think
get me
in good-
wrong,
in
but
good
they're
faith,
not
when
as
we had-
poor mouth as they're crying.
Well, I'm sure there's, not to use this word, but there probably is some politics involved. I would assume,
No.
since I would think.
Good assumption.
I mean, everybody can count heads, and I guess that another place has more heads on that board than we do. Or maybe I'm wrong, I might be wrong. So with that said, I would hate to, not do what I think we publicly already discussed that we would do as far as some type of a six-figure donation.
Which budget do we need that 100,000 to? What would that fall under?
General fund, I mean, everything's in.
Resident
You
benefit?
would take it out
The
of reserves.
VHAG fund.
Take it out of reserve. Well, yes,
Well,
it's immaterial, I mean, yeah, I mean, the reality is the money.
Diminish that. but-
Well, Larry, do you have a number for the difference between revenue and expenses after, I mean, we didn't really make
That's what we need
many
to know.
changes.
Yeah, I mean, that really hasn't moved much. It's, but may I suggest that, it would be about 170,000, but, you know, we haven't programmed in COLA, so that, but may I suggest, possibly Dave and I working together to look at the 2011-12 budget in the remaining weeks, and maybe making a commitment out of that budget, because I would, I guess, do a little more than speculate that there's been some savings that have occurred this year that we might be able to.
You think
The
surplus.
11-12 budget.
Right, the existing
The
budget.
existing,
That's the
surplus
11.
from the
That would-
existing budget, that would
Go
be
for it.
wonderful.
That would be good,
Yeah.
Larry, that would be great.
Fine.
Well,
All right,
would
well-
we like to have a resolution then authorizing staff to evaluate the potential of a $100,000 donation out of the 11-12 budget to investigate it and come back with a recommendation? I guess what I'm trying
Why
to
don't
do
we-
is, we haven't really been on record per se.
Well, I agree with that, but what if we just have staff come back with what the surplus is going to be? I don't have a problem with their saying we will come up with $100,000 some way or another, but
I guess I'm just trying to lump both those
I
things
know you
in.
are
that
not
make
gonna
a-
do that.
Okay, you don't
would
want to make
prefer
a,
not doing that.
Okay, but I mean, you know, again, I think this is something that, you know, a lot of people in the community will benefit from. Obviously,
Absolutely.
the kids, and
a lot of the girls' teams would benefit dramatically because they don't get any time, the lacrosse and the soccer.
Right.
They get one shot a year
Right.
and things like that, so yeah. this-
And I really do think, just from talking to some other people in some other communities, that, you know, the actual cost, because of the area they want to do, which is larger than just the football field. It isn't like just doing the football field, you know, maybe at some of the different high schools around here, but this is like you know, it's a track field also, you know, track field and football field. So I think it's gonna
And
cost over
soccer
$1 million,
field.
and I don't, you know,
And
they don't have that money raised. It's not raised, you know, and so, you know, they're probably, even if they actually have a firm 500 and the school's at 3, you know, it's still, I would say at a minimum, they're $200,000 short, so, and it could be more than that, because I heard a number coming out of Lake Zurich, it was like about 1.2, so.
Well, did they not use, they said 800 to $1 million.
I think it's gonna be more than that personally,
But I do know you're correct, they're looking at,
Well, they're doing that.
it's more
not
than just a
doing the field.
football
No,
field. They will accommodate,
all the other out, everything you see green there pretty much is gonna be the turf. Trustee Hebda.
I think what Larry has got is a good idea. My main concern is I agree with Roger, this has to be used for all the kids. And I want to make sure that I get a commitment from the athletic director that it's used for all the kids, because what I've been hearing from parents is the varsity players get to use it, not the freshmen, not the sophomore. If we're gonna put this money in there, that every kid should have a chance to play on that
Every
field.
level.
Every level,
That's what we're
whatever,
gonna
when
say,
it's
every
open. I mean, I think that's important. So then I'm willing to put the money out there, but the concern that I've gotten from parents is that,
Well,
well, only the varsity girls get to go out there and play, only the varsity boys. You know what? it's for every kid then, and that's what I want to get.
Well, you
wrong.
know, practically speaking.
I mean, I
you
understand
know,
with scheduling,
yeah,
but if
you gotta-
it's not scheduled,
Right.
then, and if you got a lacrosse team of freshman girls that's playing on a field, and that field's open, then let them go in there and let them play and use it. Because
Right.
they may not make varsity athletics, so let them have fun as a freshman.
Right.
And that's what I want, is his commitment to say, we'll do the best scheduling possible, understanding that varsity, I know that they have their first preference, but if it's empty and kids can use it, then great, then let them use it, and then I don't mind paying the money.
Yeah, okay.
So, but I
Well,
want
okay,
his
what do you want to say then? We're gonna plug $100,000 in?
Well, yeah, what I'm
See what we can
suggesting is the resolution to have staff evaluate $100,000 expenditure from surplus from the 11-12
Yeah.
budget.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just, we're gonna meet, what, on the 3rd?
The third.
Very
Why don't we-
quickly.
Why don't we just bring it back on the 3rd?
Well,
Or the
this is
7th.
committee of the
They should
whole,
be able to
so
get something.
therefore, you know, it's
You wanna
like,
bring it
it's
on the
like
7th?
preparing an ordinance.
Yeah. Because you all want a short meeting on the 3rd.
Well, that's
Oh,
okay, but
yes.
with this, you could include this.
Oh.
You gotta be able to crank that out.
Don't
All
bet.
right.
No, don't count on it.
So
All right.
Larry and Dave will have an answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought we'd be done early
why-
tonight
why don't we
too,
just-
but we're not.
We haven't exactly cranked it out here. so-
Exactly.
All right, well, okay.
And I did my part. I didn't say a
Well,
word to you.
Why don't we just say we're gonna budget for the upcoming fiscal year, $100,000 payment?
Well, no, I don't wanna do that.
I want to do it out of this
say-
year if we
Yeah,
can.
we can do
Right.
this year.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Exactly. So
Why don't
just
we talk
commit
about it on
to
the 3rd? On the
$800,000.
17th, you can approve it if you want to do it that way with $100K in the budget. Or if Larry and Dave figure it out, you don't need
All
to.
right.
Right.
You can
Then
commit
we'll
it from
have
this
the
year.
money.
So, all right, the
And
resolution
transfer
then
the money.
is to give staff direction to look for $100,000 for an
In the- out of
alternative
the
inspection.
existing budget.
Out of
Hopefully
the-
existing budget,
Right.
yes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
For record, I'd vote aye.
We are now on the record.
I appreciate it. Okay, motion carries. All right, we're gonna, close the committee of the whole and go into, executive session to discuss personnel. Is there a motion to adjourn committee of the whole and go into closed session?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second, roll call, please.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you and good night.